the past 150 years, life on this beautiful campus at the heart of Beirut has inspired some of the greatest minds of our region. Our story begins in 1866, when the Syrian Protestant College opened its doors to the first 18 students. They were taught by a group of pioneering educators who laid the foundation for the transformative liberal arts education unique in the Middle East.
Daniel Bliss and the other founding faculty were ahead of their time. They were open to the current of change and to the currency of modernism. And that's what AUB excels at. Excellence and evolution. We're not a fixed point in time. 150
years later, I study at AUB along with 8,400 other students.
Sorry. We're following in the footsteps of the nearly 60,000 strong alumni of AUB, living in more than 100 countries around the world.
AUB transformed Lebanon and transformed the opportunities for people in this part of the world.
I want to discover new ways to treat endemic illness in the Arab world for my generation and many more to come.
The Aub Medical Center is one of the fundamental parts of our mission.
We aim to become influential experts in a variety of disciplines who understand the importance of critical inquiry, open debate, and accountability in civil society.
I want that star kid who is growing up, who wants to come to AUB, to come here and know that they will have the opportunity to excel without constantly worrying whether their parents can pay tuition.
AUB promotes fair competition, fellowship, and the healthy lifestyle, enabling us to become strong and impactful leaders.
It is a melting pot of ideologies, nationalities, and religions. A place that values freedom of expression, tolerance, and civic responsibility.
We need to continue to do things extremely well, but we can't be bound to the past in the way that we are constantly slaves to tradition. Quite the contrary. Great traditions are built on and enhanced.
We will never stop building on that foundation as we aspire to ever more greatness. It is our actions today and those of the next generation that will make AUB's second 150 years even greater.
Welcome, everybody. How are you doing today? Welcome to AUBNecessary, a live fundraiser for the American University of Beirut. My name is Nemr. Nemr Abu Nassar is the full name. I do go by Nemr. And today I will be your host. We are going to go on a journey today. All right, we're going to go on a journey to discover the story of AUB. And of course, we're going to be raising funds as well while we're doing this. So I want you all to sit back today and enjoy a story that not a lot of people know. I am an AUB alum. I've graduated from the American University of Beirut back in 2005. I studied business administration. But more notably, my entire career, my success, and everything I've done, whether it was in stand-up comedy or in anything else around the world, started at the American University of Beirut. In fact, stand-up comedy in the Middle East was something I started myself, and it is also something that started on stage in AUB. The first ever stand-up comedy show in AUB was at the Bathish Auditorium. This was back in the year 2000, if my memory serves me correctly, which it often does not. Some of my earliest jokes were written there, when I used to say the most difficult thing about studying business is telling people that you're studying business. Because every time you tell them, when they ask you, what are you studying? You say business. They're like, oh, you didn't get accepted into engineering? These jokes were like the beginning of me as a stand-up comic. To be here today, to be able to give back to AUB and to welcome our incredible guest today is an honor and a privilege. And I want to thank everybody who's joining us today. A lot of people ask me, Nemr, why are we doing a fundraiser for AUB? Aren't they just a university? Don't they get a lot of grants? There's a lot of misconceptions about AUB. The American University of Beirut is a nonprofit organization. It's not a business. And by its nature, yes, it does get grants. It gets a lot of international support, but AUB is not limited to just a university. It doesn't make money from tuition and it settles, the salaries of teachers. AUB has a medical center, the Children's Cancer Center of Lebanon. They have research centers, both in the medical and scientific fields of all different paradigms. The American University of Beirut has community outreach programs, and we're going to learn about those today. They do disaster response. They've been around for over 150 years. AUB is as much Lebanon as Lebanon is AUB. And that massive operation always requires funding. Also, financial aid. A lot of people told me the tuition is expensive. Let me tell you something about me. I don't come from a rich family. We're doing great now, but we come from humble beginnings. When I went to AUB and I studied there, I did not have enough money to pay the tuition. A big misconception of a lot of people is that you can't afford it, so you can't go. They have financial aid programs. My grades were terrible. I'm a stand-up comic and a business student, so nothing really shows you that I did great in school. So trust me on this one. The bottom line is my grades were good. I got into university, but I couldn't afford it. So I applied for financial aid, and they granted it to us. You will get financial aid, and those programs where students who are smart enough to get into the university but can't afford to study there get financial aid, not based on your grades. That's incredible. It's based on your financial situation. All of these programs require funding. And now with everything AUB is going through, everything Lebanon is going through, it's very difficult to make the argument that AUB does not need help. And it's even more difficult to make the argument that AUB is not necessary. An institution like AUB is beyond necessary. And today we're going to demonstrate why. But I urge you all to please, if you are not convinced yet, you'll be convinced later on. But if you can, I know times are tight. Any amount helps. There are donation links. If you're watching on Twitch, there are two panels below the video right now. One that says donations, donate, and another one that says donate in Lebanon, from Lebanon. If you're donating from Lebanon, make sure you use the link for donations from Lebanon. And if you're donating anywhere else in the world, use the primary link. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, look in the description of the video you're watching right now, and you will see the donation links as well. Same drill, donate internationally or donate within Lebanon. You're going to have to use either or link. Now, here's the beautiful thing. A lot of people, since we announced this event, have been very excited. And I want to thank you all again for joining and supporting. I'm a comic, for those who don't know. I'm a stand-up comic, so I'm going to make this show a lot of fun today. And I hope you guys are ready for that. We're going to have a good time. I want this show to be uplifting. But I want it to be uplifting also because of all the generosity we've seen. And I want to start out by announcing that AUB trustee Philip Winder has generously pledged a $20,000 matching fund for all gifts made today in honor of the AUBNecessary event. So gifts made in conjunction with this broadcast today will be matched 1-to-1 up to $20,000. So if we raise $20,000 today, AUB trustee Philip Winder will throw in another $20,000. That means we can raise $40,000. So I'm asking you please to support AUB and its incredible vast array of necessary programs, as it is a very necessary institution. As we tell you the story of AUB today, we're going to go through multiple guests. We have an incredible guest list today. We have people who you probably know, like Steve Kerr. We have people you probably know, like Tony Shalhoub, Nadine Lebaki. We have people you might not know that are hugely influential in the space today. Whether they're coming to us live from Lebanon, like Naila Twaini or Ben Wiedemann, or if they're coming to us live from here in the US, like Catherine Maher or Natalie Nasserdeen, who's going to be our first guest, and many, many more. I am very excited to spend some time with all of you to tell you the story of AUB and also the things that I did in AUB. So without further ado, I would like to, and this is all live, by the way, so I just want to make sure that everybody's very well aware today that mixing a comic with live means something's going to go wrong. We know something's going to go wrong. We don't know what it's going to be, but something's going to go wrong. So we want to make sure that you guys are all ready for this wild live ride today, right here. Our first guest today, and I'm going to bring her up in a bit. I'm admitting her right now into the Zoom room. We're doing this all via Zoom. Her name is Natalie Nasserdeen. She's an AUB graduate, and she is the founder of Pink Steps, which is an NGO that promotes physical fitness and mental health for breast cancer survivors in Lebanon. She was recently recognized by Forbes magazine in its 30 under 30 Middle East. So she's younger than 30, and she's on the top 30 people under 30. Not many people can say that. She also is one of the, she's one of the most, how can I put this? This is a young mind. I wanted to make sure that today when we start the show off, we start with a new generation that a lot of people seem to forget. People in my generation and younger, we don't get recognition. A lot of people in Lebanon are hung up on previous generations, and they say Lebanon will never change and the world will never change. And they forget that so many AUB graduates have made such an impact. Natalie Nasserdeen is one of those incredibly impressive and highly accomplished young minds, both in the Arab world and all over the world. She's joining us today from the US. She's currently a postdoctoral research associate working at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, Missouri. And she earned a PhD at AUB in 2020. Younger than 30, earned a PhD. I'm a clown. That's basically all I can tell you guys right now. Let's jump over to Natalie. Natalie, how's it going? How are you doing today?
Hi, Nemr. How are you?
I am very well. It is great to see you. Are you in St. Louis right now? Is that where you are? St. Louis?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying St. Louis. St. Louis, Missouri. Is that where you're joining us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, how is St. Louis?
It's fine. You can't really tell whether you're in a very big city or a small city, so it's fine.
Okay. All right. Coming from Beirut to St. Louis, that must be quite a journey. Natalie, you've done some incredible things in a very short period of time. And I mean, relatively speaking, at least compared to me and most of the people that I know. How has AUB played a pivotal role for you in getting to where you are right now in your life?
Mm-hmm. So AUB has been supportive to me even before I officially joined it. I remember 5 years ago, I was a fresh graduate from Georgetown University's tumor biology program. And I came back to Lebanon to start my PhD at AUB, and I wanted to start my NGO as well, Pink Steps, for breast cancer survivors. And the amount of support and encouragement that I got from other NGOs at AUB and from people at AUB was phenomenal. We were happy to start the NGO for breast cancer survivors, and we were provided with the AUB's Charles Hostler Greenfield to exercise in a free space for the past 5 years. We did really amazing collaborations with the Lebanese Breast Cancer Foundation, Amaluna, and other NGOs like Revive at AUB. And we got recognized on the national level. We did incredible work on the breast cancer prevention, early detection, and awareness front. And recently we joined through the Lebanon Cancer, the CCL Lebanon, the Children's Cancer Center, the Coalition for Cancer NGOs in Lebanon,
wow,
which was a milestone for Pink Steps. And then after that, I was also honored to represent AUB and Lebanon at the Lindau Nobel Laureate meeting, which is the most amazing meeting for scientists on Earth. So in 2018, we met with 600 young scientists and 40 Nobel laureates in physiology and medicine. And this is a dream come true for everyone. And I was the only one representing AUB there. I was so happy and humbled to take several roles. And after the meeting, I closely planned the visit of one of the most incredible Nobel laureates, Professor Harold Varmus, which was also at the time the scientific advisor of President Obama and the president of Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, the head of NIH and NCI. He had really big roles, and he came to Lebanon. It was such an enriching experience. And then I got an amazing support from Dr. Pierre Karam while there, who makes you feel like a colleague and not a student, because he was on the Lindau committee. And then I got amazing recognition from Dr. Fadlu Khouri, of course, who then offered me a science fellowship with the World Economic Forum. And I joined I was the only academic fellow in the world serving on this council, which resulted at the end with a very high level vision statement. And that put, again, AUB and Lebanon on the map in such an incredible high-level council. And then after that, I came back, of course, to Lebanon, and I also would like to recognize how Lebanon and AUB has a world-class education and research as a research institute. I got the privilege to be also trained in scientific research at the biology department at AUB under the supervision of the most incredible advisor on earth, Dr. Rabia Talfou. He was very supportive as well. And it's really amazing to see with how little money we have in the region and the limited equipment. You can do such amazing research, you can publish, and you can put also Lebanon on the map, not only with the social entrepreneurship aspect, but also in research and academia. And I tell you this with confidence because I had the privilege as well to be in several institutions around the world, including in Hawaii, in Egypt, several in the United States. And when I came to Lebanon, I was very impressed by the caliber of education and research that we have at AUB. And when you see all these initiatives that are done by the young people in Lebanon, and especially the AUB community, it warms your heart to see how we are shaping the country. We still have hope. We still want to fix the country. We still want to do whatever it takes to make Lebanon safe and happy and hopeful again. And one last thing I would like to mention is that also through AUB, when I went to the Lindau meeting, I got the chance to meet another fellow Lebanese. She is a junior professor at Oxford University, and she's an incredible scientist. And she started now an initiative for Lebanese women to get back on their feet, to take their ideas, and it's an incubator to take their ideas and turn it into business models. Then hopefully later on they can make profit out of it. And I'm so happy to collaborate with her on several fronts. Like, I started as in the academia and research field, and then I took the social entrepreneurship access and aspect, and then the science policy, and now the business and entrepreneurial aspect. So while you're at AUB, you're very well-rounded. You get all these chances, all this incredible support. Your effort is very celebrated and recognized. And I wanted to share my story today for two reasons. First, to tell the youth, and especially the AUB students, to never stop, to always be hopeful, to try to start their own initiatives or join others' initiatives. There are so many, like hundreds of initiatives that you can find at AUB that are happening right now, before and after the blast. And second, to thank AUB for giving me all these incredible opportunities, and especially Dr. Fadlu Khouri for trusting in me and making my stay at AUB for the past 5 years very fruitful, and it really felt like being home.
Incredible. And I am such a loser. That was amazing. You just made a case for not only why AUB is necessary for you, but really, if you have any potential, a university like AUB and infrastructure like that is necessary so that you can really unlock your potential to really get out there, get into the world, and go after your dreams, go after your ambitions. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I wish you all the best in St. Louis, Missouri. That was the coolest drop of qualification I've ever heard. I come from an entertainment industry, so people usually drop names. I've never heard scientists, and I'm blown away. That was incredible. Natalie, thank you so much, and the best of luck to you in everything you do.
Thank you so much.
You take care of yourself.
You too.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Natalie Nasserdeen. That was pretty freaking impressive. I'm going to be very honest. I think my parents are watching, and I can only imagine right now their level of disappointment. I can only imagine my parents looking at me and being like, we sent him to the exact same institution as everybody else, and look what he does. But hey, being a professional comic isn't too bad, if I may say so myself. We have more guests coming. I just want to remind everyone to please keep donating. The donations are coming in, and I'll be making announcements very soon as to how much we're raising, and I'm going to keep you posted on that. Of course, I just want to remind you all that we have gotten a very generous matching fund donation offer from AUB trustee Philip Winder, who is saying that he will match up to $20,000 as long as we raise $20,000. So honestly, I mean, that's all we got to do. We got to get to 20. We'll get $40,000 for AUB, and we can do that today. My next guest that I want to bring up is a lecturer in history at both the American University of Beirut and the Lebanese American University, LAU, another incredible institution in Lebanon. He is the author of several books, as well as holding degrees this is just, at this moment, I just feel so incompetent right now. Bachelor's, master's degrees in history from AUB, and also a PhD in history from Georgetown University. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our next guest, a guy I'm actually a very big personal fan of, Mr. Makram, or Dr. rather, Makram Rabah. Dr. Rabah, how are you today?
Hi, Nemr, how are you?
I'm doing. Are those horses behind you in the?
Actually, this is a very famous picture of the end of World War II, where the Soviets were celebrating the defeat of fascism, and this is something that we Lebanese are still struggling with. So we are looking for a country that we can call ours, and basically defeat fascism in all forms. Fascism that promotes racism, that promotes bigotry and hate. This is why I have this picture in my living room, to remind everyone what's important here, including AUB.
I couldn't agree more. Fascism is now like is a real global threat. At least here in America, I can tell you that much right now for sure. And I know in Lebanon it's a threat. And in your mind, with everything you're seeing as a historian, as a lecturer, you see students, you see the new generation. You're in AUB, you're in the ecosystem. Should we have hope? Is AUB an institution that, if people believe in it, can help?
We cannot but have hope for a number of reasons. First of all, when I came to AUB back in 1999, I happened to stay. I haven't left AUB. Even when I went to do my PhD at Georgetown, as you mentioned, I was still connected to AUB. And now you mentioned I used to teach at LAU. Now I'm a full-time lecturer, and I'm in constant contact with these young minds who are not only people who are trying to get an education, but rather to become really the defenders of Lebanon. We are not training people to leave this country. You might have left because you need to pursue your career outside, but you still think about Lebanon and think about AUB.
Oh, I travel the Middle East, and Lebanon is my home base. That's where I'm at. I'm basically here now just because of the corona. I'm limiting my travel as much as possible. Otherwise, I'd be in Lebanon. My parents are there. I'm 100% on board with you on that.
And more importantly, we're not asking about money. We're asking about moral commitment. This university has the ability to fundraise on its own, because basically, even though we have a lot of haters, people who like to take shots at UB and accuse us of being tools of the West, we are tools of no one. We are a platform that allows analytical thinking. And when anyone gets sick or anyone wants to send their kid to school, they think about UB. Anyone who even promotes these anti-Western gibberish, and we are a liberal arts education who has given not only to Lebanon and to the region, but to the world. You get to bump into people who will tell you AUB. They know AUB. They might not know who the president of the republic is. They don't care who the president of the republic is. I am in a constant contact with my students, and I see them progress. I see them go out, and they are ambassadors of change, not only the Lebanese brand of change, but we belong to I don't want to call it a club, because basically, even though a lot of people did not come to UB, they still understand why is it important. It is not only necessary, it's crucial, it's imperative, it's indispensable. We can go on and on. And this is not, again, this is not a commitment for money. I am a historian on UB, but I can tell you I could also predict the future. This region doesn't have a fighting chance without institutions such as UB, such as USG, such as a lot of institutions here, which are fighting despite the fact that we have criminals who are running this country, who would like to get rid of AUB or turn AUB into a tool that they can use to promote their own ideologies.
Of course. I mean, I went to AUB and I started, I think, 1999, 2000 that year. There's always a desperate attempt to infiltrate that campus and every campus in Lebanon. There's always a desperate attempt, all universities in Lebanon. And I think it's appropriate for us to shout out the educational institutions of Lebanon for being such powerful pillars of resistance with education.
I don't know if you came across this. 2 days ago, people were celebrating the fact that the revolution had won at LEU student elections.
Yes.
They did not notice the fact that the reason why these independent voices were heard was that the system allowed this to happen.
Yes.
This is exactly what used to happen at AUB.
Yes.
Even if you ran on an independent platform, you still get elected and you still get heard. And at the end of the day, I'm not someone who looks at political parties as being the ultimate evil. No.
Of course.
Political activism is valid as
Yes.
long as we are all playing under one rule, and basically
on a level, as long as it's a level playing field. Exactly.
The Constitution, or at AUB, that you are a student first, and then you're a political activist. And this is what I used to promote as a political activist and now as a lecturer.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I would like to remind you, remember when you were graduating in 06 and everyone was drunk, and I wanted to end the graduation party. So I grabbed Nemr and I told him, could you actually say a couple of announcements on the mic? He himself was, of course, at 4 a.m. Nemr was like the rest, almost drunk, and people did not want to leave. They were happy that we were graduating AUB.
Yep.
And Nemr was so kind to tell them that
we got to leave.
The bar has closed, and they went crazy.
Do you remember that? You put me.
Yeah, of course.
And I didn't want to bring it up, but you put me as public enemy #1. I was a popular guy. I was doing stand-up. People love me. You're like, Nemr, how about you shut down the party with your giant voice?
First of all, you have a good voice, you have a good accent, and everyone likes you.
Well, man, it is so good to reconnect after all this time. You are an inspiration to so many people, and as a teacher, I really wish that I was a student when you were teaching. Let's just put it that way.
Well, you never stop learning, and again, what we teach in the university is not books. We teach to people every day, and this is something you do with, you have people that enjoy actually
Makram, we're losing you, unfortunately. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, the internet was dying for a second.
Well, just like you are in the entertainment business, and I had the pleasure also of meeting Natalie a couple of months ago.
Yes.
We all are trying to promote what AUB stands for in different ways. I'm a historian, you're a comedian. Everyone could bring in, even if you are not a graduate of AUB, always be reminded that Lebanon is great because of institutions like AUB. Many of the Arab countries which are now doing really well started because of AUB graduates who went back home and they believed in their country and they believed in liberal thinking. This is what we should always do. And if you think that money will last, money doesn't last.
No.
Your legacy will last.
That's very true.
If you give AUB, this is a better legacy for us and for our future children.
100%. 100%. Thank you so much for joining us, Makram, today. You take care of yourself, and I'll see you at a much more sober future between you.
Take care and cheers, man.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
That was Makram Rabah, lecturer, historian, great guy all around, fantastic dude. We have so much more to share with all of you. I just want to check, make sure that everything is going smoothly. Fantastic. We are continuing to raise funds as we speak. The money is coming in. The donation links are available for you right now in the caption of the video on YouTube and Facebook. They are also available in panels here on Twitch. If you're donating from within Lebanon, make sure, please, that you click on the one that is donate from Lebanon. And if you're donating from anywhere else in the world, the other one. You might be wondering, Nemr, why is it so complex? The situation in Lebanon is so dire that unfortunately it has to be done this way. But if we keep working the way we're working and AUB keeps excelling the way it's excelling, I think we will be in a much, much better place. So I wanted to share another video with you guys because a lot of people don't know exactly about how impactful AUB really is. So this video is going to show you a lot about some of the initiatives that I didn't even know AUB was doing, whether it was following the explosion in Lebanon or before. We have more guests coming up. Don't go anywhere. This video is going to play, and then we're going to be joined with some testimonials from Mona Halak and Rabia Shibli. Enjoy.
past 150 years, life on this beautiful campus at the heart of Beirut has inspired some of the greatest minds of our region. Our story begins in 1866, when the Syrian Protestant College opened its doors to the first 18 students. They were taught by a group of pioneering educators who laid the foundation for the transformative liberal arts education unique in the Middle East.
Daniel Bliss and the other founding faculty were ahead of their time. They were open to the current of change and to the currency of modernism. And that's what AUB excels at. Excellence and evolution. We're not a fixed point in time.
150 years later, I study at AUB along with 8,400 other students.
Sorry. We're following in the footsteps of the nearly 60,000 strong alumni of AUB, living in more than 100 countries around the world.
AUB transformed Lebanon and transformed the opportunities for people in this part of the world.
I want to discover new ways to treat endemic illness in the
Our internal medicine teams went up to the floors and were deployed across all the floors within a couple hours of the explosion. So we admitted in those few hours 87 patients. That's what we usually admit in an ED in 2 days. We admitted within a couple of hours.
From the first days after the explosion, the center established a presence in 3 affected neighborhoods. We recruited hundreds of volunteers to clear debris and shattered glass and sealed windows with plastic sheets. Supervised teams of volunteers built trust and relationships with affected residents. Volunteer experts are mapping and assessing damages in preparation for the next phase of recovery, targeted home rehabilitation for vulnerable residents.
Our volunteers used all of these equipment and start clearing the debris and broken glasses and get people back into their homes.
It gives me hope. However, seeing this, if there was a crack which is straight, the wall is straight.
The trauma assessment and support clinic was started 2 weeks after the Beirut 4th of August explosion, with the purpose to serve the community using the specialist resources we have in the department and to facilitate access for those who had not been in the psychiatric system prior to this situation.
We have been seeing many patients with symptoms serious enough to qualify as acute stress disorder.
Fight this back with hope and positivity.
You're not alone.
Hand in hand for our country.
So reach out and ask for help. are rushing to help other people. But oftentimes, in these difficult and challenging times, we often neglect ourselves.
Is that it's really, really important to acknowledge our pain and understand that pain is inevitable.
وما هن ركضوا قوام ساووا لنا القجاز الا القجاز كان طبق علينا ما في حدا ركض الا الجار للجار.
Khadat Beirut, or the Beirut Blast, is a grassroots national initiative that aims at ensuring that any aid coming to Lebanon is community-led, locally driven, and evidence-based. Our headquarters is in the Faculty of the Arts and Sciences at AUB, but we have created hubs and working groups across various universities and faculties to make sure that aid can be delivered based on evidence, data, and the real needs of people in the areas of health, environmental health, education, and small to medium-sized enterprises in the most affected areas.
I mean, I don't know if you saw what I just saw, but whenever somebody talks about AUB and I hear them, I felt Makram's angst when we were talking to him earlier. When AUB gets criticized, people don't realize exactly what AUB is doing and how big AUB's operation is and how much of a contribution they have on the ground. And if you thought that was all, I actually got a chance to sit down with two people who are part of all of those initiatives you just saw. I'm going to play a quick clip I have from somebody called Muna Al-Halak. Okay, she's the director of AUB's Neighborhood Initiative. And she's an incredible woman. I sat down with her and pre-recorded this interview super quick for you guys because I really wanted you to see what else they're doing in addition to everything else. Check this out.
The AUB Neighborhood Initiative, after the August 4th explosion, our neighborhood extended to the neighborhood of the explosion because to us, Beirut is our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So we entered Akawi and we're doing a rehabilitation project with Nusaned, whose board is all AUB graduates and affiliates. And this project is really going to be the pride of the AUB Neighborhood Initiative. The people who are living in it are all old couples, a widow and an old lady, and all of them have no money, but they refuse to sell and leave. So we want to put them back. We hope that we will together put the star on the Christmas tree this Christmas.
That's absolutely beautiful. AUB is putting together volunteer networks, putting people together to make sure that even buildings are reconstructed. And something that Muna is working on, you may have seen her briefly in the video, that's incredible, is they are also taking the piles of rubble from the blast in Lebanon, the debris and the glass, and recycling them so that we can put them back into our country, so that our heritage itself from old buildings and everything that's been destroyed is no longer destroyed, but is reused, repurposed, recycled. I also sat down with Rabia Shibli, who is the director of the award-winning Center for Civic Engagement and Community Services at AUB, who you heard speaking in that video. And I asked him a very important question. He's at the heart of organizing volunteer work from all over the country to deal with an unprecedented crisis. And I asked him, well, I think you'd like to hear what he has to say. I often say that Lebanon is a country held hostage by previous generations, and the new generation just wants to move forward, to progress. In your experience, is that reflected on the ground with what you've been seeing?
Definitely. They don't care. They don't care about like the old God. They don't care about the victory. They don't care about the small sectarian kind of challenges. They really don't care. The number of volunteers who went down there into Marim Khail, Ja'itawi, Karantina, we had Syrians with us, we had Palestinians with us, we had a lot of sub-Saharan African AB scholars who went down with us. We had
incredible
AB volunteers from different areas of Lebanon just going out there giving a hand for support. They didn't ask what are the political affiliation or the sectarian affiliation or the religious affiliation of the people we're working with. They just wanted to go, they just went there from 8 to 2, non-stop work from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. And it was really hot. We worked in severe conditions. They had to go up to like 9th or 10th floor apartments, carry on really heavy load, bring it down, and sealing windows, clearing shattered glass, assisting in any ways possible. And so basically, you are dealing with a new breed of youth, of a generation that totally believe that a new Lebanon is being born. And I think we as an institution of higher education, it is a must that we are able to cope with the momentum of these volunteers and again this new breed of graduates.
And he's completely right. This is something that a lot of people miss. The new generation in Lebanon is incredible. And who deserves credit for that? The old generation as well. What's beautiful about Lebanon is there has always been a larger than life population of people that have wanted to create positive change in the world. And unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond their control, AUB students leave the country and change the world. It's unfortunate for Lebanon, but very fortunate for the world. And whenever somebody asks me, Nemr, how do you still have hope in Lebanon? How can you not have hope after seeing what you just saw? Selflessness, volunteer work, no question about religion, full unity. Why do we give so much power and energy and such a voice to the negative few instead of supporting and loving those that empower the many that really live to bring the world to a better place? I also have another very exciting announcement for all of you. Thank you, everybody, for the donations you're doing. I know there was a problem with Twitch panels. That's been corrected. So if you want to donate and you're on Twitch, the panels are below. We have raised, are you ready for this? $49,780. I repeat, we have raised $49,780. I'm getting emotional right now. I did not expect this. And if you're wondering, that does not include the $20,000 match pledge that we got from AUB trustee Philip Winder. Philip Winder is going to now give his $20,000 pledge as well. So we have reached a total of $69,780. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please don't stop. Keep those donations coming in. If you want to pledge, pledge. If you want to do anything, do it. We're here. We are making an impact. We are making a difference online, all of us together. And I want to thank you for doing this. I don't have words. I don't have words. You guys are incredible. My next guest that I'm going to be bringing in right now is mind-boggling. Okay, so I want you guys to be ready for what you're about to encounter. Okay, she's a trustee. She holds the Ralph D. Fagan Chair at the Baylor College of Medicine and is an investigator with the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. She's also the founding director of the Jan and Dan Duncan Urological Research Institute at the Texas Children's Hospital. She has received many awards, including the 2017 Canada Gairdner International Award, the 2017 Breakthrough Prize in Life Sciences, the 2016 Shaw Prize in Life Sciences and Medicine, the 2011 Gruber Neuroscience Prize, and the 2009 Vilcek Prize in Biomedical Sciences. She is an AUB graduate with a Bachelor of Sciences in 1976. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the incredible Dr. Huda Zurby. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Nemr. Thank you so much for doing this event.
Of course. I wouldn't have it any other way. It is a true honor and a privilege to be speaking to you today. You have had usually we get, I've gotten bios and I'm not going to read the entire bio. I looked at your bio and I was like, I have to read every single word here because this is an unbelievable body of work. I congratulate you and I thank you for everything you've done for humanity. And I want to ask you, with everything you've been through, in your perspective, what makes AUB necessary?
Thank you, Nemr, for giving me the opportunity to share
Of course.
this, because really every platform I've been, every encounter I've had, I always reflect on why am I here? And a big part of why I'm here is AUB. And I thought of maybe sharing 3 steps in my education and career that I feel have been incredibly critical for the work I was enabled to do as a physician, as a scientist. My first incredible experience at AUB was my liberal art education. The ability to take the cultural studies classes, that were 4 courses we had to take as pre-meds, learn literature, learn philosophy, learn how to think critically, I would say were the most important fact that helped me how to deal with a problem, how to dissect a problem, how to lay out a problem, or how to tell a story, which is really important in science communication. So that was really the first, I would say, foundation for my education. Once upon a time, I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be an English literature major because I fell in love with the liberal arts and literature when I was at AUB and in high school. But at the end of the day, I never imagined that education and writing and logic is going to come and serve me the best in a career in science. Because how you design a study or how you tell the study, the better it's logically written, the better people will understand it and the more it's accessible. So that has been, I think, the foundation. The second most important experience I feel I gained at AUB, and this is what we have to guard, and today more than ever, is when I attended AUB, and AUB continues to have a diverse body of students. I met the most diverse group of students I've ever met.
Yeah, because, it's incredible.
When you're studying in high school or middle school or within your own family, you're really sheltered. You know who you know within your neighborhood, within your family, within your city. But AUB really exposed me to the diverse population of Lebanon, to the diverse population of the region. And at the time, we were far more international. There were obviously a lot of students also abroad from outside the Arab world. And why was that critical? It was critical because we learned from each other, first and foremost. I think each person has something to bring that's very valuable. But most importantly, AUB really taught us how to have a dialogue. We would always be together, a very diverse group of people with different beliefs, people with different backgrounds, but we had conversations and we had very productive conversations. And I think when you learn how to do that, you can together figure out how to make the world a better place. And this is what I feel today is really sorely needed for Lebanon, for the Middle East, and the world. Far beyond. Even in the USA, we're experiencing that, right? And I think this is priceless. And I think an education that prepares you in a logical way to have a conversation that's meaningful and that help you to do things for the greater good altogether, no matter how different you are, is absolutely precious. The third part is really what I would say propelled my career, if you will. So during my undergraduate degree, I took biology classes and chemistry classes. And I would say my experiences in the organic chemistry lab with Dr. Makhlouf Haddadeen is what probably taught me how to be an incredible scientist at the bench. Because at that young age, he taught us how to design an experiment carefully, how to have all the controls, and how to interpret our data. Again, that was the foundation. Really, after that, I went to medical school, residency, and all of that. Only when I came back to the lab, I had to draw on that earlier experience. Fast forward to medical school, I was there just 1 year, but I would say that was probably one of the most influential years, because there, my professors, particularly, I would like to single out Dr. Adel Afifi and Ron Bergman. Their teaching of neuroscience and the brain is what made me love the brain. So as much as I was exposed to so many things, I went back and dug my notes. I still have my notebook.
What?
I hold it so dear because all the drawings in it, everything I learned about brain anatomy from his teachings, I love it.
Wow.
So no wonder then, when you've had the experiences that I had at AUB, whether how to think logically and clearly and critically, or whether how to do lab work and be really a mini scientist, a young scientist, budding scientist, or to be turned on to love the most complex organ in our body, the brain. You can now see how everything you read in my resume has been influenced. The seeds were planted when I was at AUB.
That is unbelievable. Yeah.
I should say there was one for me personally. I think that, of course, that wouldn't happen to everybody, but at least for me personally, given all the quality students that AUB takes in and nurture, I was fortunate to meet my better half, William Zurby, at AUB.
Really?
So for me personally, in addition to all the education and academic and opening my mind and growth intellectually, it was really also the most incredible.
Oh my God. God bless. That is what a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing. And as we say in Arabic, all that good stuff. You know, this is incredible. You touched my heart right now. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you for everything you've done for the brain and for the world. And thank you for sharing your story with us today. I really appreciate you.
For all that you're doing.
I'm just sitting down on a chair. You guys are doing all the heavy lifting. Thanks so much. Have a great day and take care of yourself. We'll see you around.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Dr. Huda Zurby, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't get more impressive than that. Let me tell you, that was something else. That was something else. So before I bring in my next guest, let me take a look here, make sure everything is great. Oh my God. Okay. We have another match has just come through. This is okay. So I'm getting these once again. This is a live show, so I apologize. We have just gotten another matching offer. If we raise another $20,000, and the last that I checked, we were at $69,780 because we had raised $49,780, and that activated a match of $20,000 from AUB trustee Philip Winder. We've just gotten another announcement for another match. Rula and Fuad Tamer have both very generously offered to match the next $20,000 with $20,000. So I see we can pass $100,000. So please donate to support the American University of Beirut. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, the donation links are in the caption below. If you're on Twitch, there are 2 panels below. Make sure you click on the one that's appropriate for you. If you're within Lebanon, click on the one that says donate from Lebanon. And if you're outside of Lebanon, click on the one that says donate. Let me bring in my next guest. This next guest is absolutely incredible. Truly incredible. She's a trustee of the American University of Beirut, and she is also the CEO and executive director of an organization called the Wikimedia Foundation, which is the nonprofit that operates Wikipedia and all other Wikimedia projects. She is an advocate for free and open societies and has worked around the world leading the introduction of technology and innovation in human rights, good governance, and international development. She's worked with UNICEF, the National Democratic Institute, the World Bank, and Access Now. She's a member of the World Economic Forum's Global Council on Human Rights and the Council on Foreign Relations. It's an absolute privilege and an honor to have her with us today. I'm admitting her right into the room right now. And please help me welcome Catherine Meher, ladies and gentlemen. Catherine, so nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It is so good to be here on behalf of AUB. Thanks, Nemr.
I love the Black Lives Matter behind you. That is wonderful to see. Thank you for joining us. You are a trustee on with the American University of Beirut. We had a brief conversation where you told me you visited the camp. You've had a lot of experiences with AUB, and now as a trustee, with everything you go through, and I mean, Wikipedia, your journey, your perspective. What makes AUB necessary?
I mean, I think AUB's record, history, and mission as an organization that's dedicated to truly critical engagement as a liberal arts university is important in Lebanon, of course, in the region, yes, absolutely, but in the world right now. At the Wikimedia Foundation, we run Wikipedia, and one of the things that we know is that the world right now is not terribly welcoming for the ability to have freedom of inquiry, to learn about the world, freedom of expression. There's just closing space everywhere you look from a political standpoint. And it is very much my belief, and very much a thing that I think AUB is fantastic at, that what we need to do is to create space for especially young minds to be in a position to learn, to ask critical questions, and to really challenge what it is that we know about the world, because quite frankly, the world isn't working on behalf of many of us at the moment. And so, you know, the opportunity to learn and to have those critical conversations in an environment like AUB it's absolutely necessary right now.
I couldn't agree more. Both, a lot of people think AUB, they think Lebanon, but I think if every part of the world does its part to try to change at least the attitude we have towards discourse, and going from like a team-based approach to an objective-based approach, I think would be the best way to kind of put it.
That's so corporate of you.
Isn't that how it kind of seems like that now? We're all fighting each other based on team as opposed to trying to get to the objective the quickest. It's absolutely crazy. When was the last time you were able to visit Lebanon?
I was thinking about that, of course, with COVID, and I just joined the board of trustees this year, and I was so looking forward to my first visit and to be able to come to graduation. And then my first board meeting was actually canceled because of COVID. It was in March, so I haven't even had the chance to meet any of the trustees in person yet. But my most recent visit to Lebanon was probably about 18 months before COVID hit. You know, I think we were talking a little bit about, it's a country I try to visit every single year. I have so many friends there. It's a place that's so close to my heart. I'm always so inspired by. And of course, right now, instead of feeling as though I want to be far away, I want to be closer. It's like seeing a family. It's like seeing your family in distress. You want to be there for whatever it is, even if you don't know exactly how to help.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I really do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Catherine, I really, in LA and COVID and everything, it's a disaster, but hopefully we will see each other. Everybody will see you in Lebanon, and we get to see one another in Lebanon, hopefully sooner rather than later. And those trustees, I'm sure, are dying to meet you in person as well. So thank you so much for everything you're doing to support AUB and everything you're doing to support the world, discourse in general, and just human rights, the entire resume. Thank you. We really appreciate you.
It's a joint effort. It's what we do together.
Go team. Take care. Thank you very much, Catherine. Have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Catherine Maher, the CEO of Wikimedia. What an absolute delight to be able to talk to her and get her insight. We have more incredible guests going. I'm just making sure that everything is on point, which it is. Let me take a look here really quick and make sure that we are on point. Okay. This is amazing. Our next guest is a titan of the media world, really of the media world, period. But she's also a titan in my beloved country and the world's beloved country of Lebanon. She's a Lebanese journalist and a politician. She is the CEO and editor-in-chief of An-Nahar newspaper, arguably, really undeniably, the most influential newspaper of all time in the Middle East. It was founded by her great-grandfather, Gibran Twaini, an icon in his own right. In September 2018, AUB President Fadl Khouri was the editor-in-chief of a special issue of An-Nahar that included contributions from more than 100 leaders, presenting what Naila described, our next guest, as a roadmap for qualitative investment in Lebanon and its creative forces. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the incredible Miss Naila Twaini. Hello, Naila. How are you?
Hello, Nemr. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for joining us from Beirut. It is an honor and a privilege to be speaking with you. I and many people in Lebanon are, to understate it, big fans of your work. You have fought for freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Your entire family has. You have sacrificed for that cause. In your unique and almost I can't even imagine a set of circumstances like the ones you've been through. What would it be to you? What makes AUB as an institution necessary in your mind?
I was raised in a house where my grandfather Hassan always talked about AUB and the importance of AUB, and he wanted me to go to AUB, and I did for a year, and after I quit because I wanted to do journalism, and at that moment AUB they didn't have a program for journalism. So, and maybe not every day but every week he used to tell me about stories about the AUB and the importance, and he never forgave me that I didn't enter to AUB and continue AUB. And till now I owe him this, and I always say that I have to, and I will come back, and I want to have a master from AUB.
Oh, wow.
So just for him and for me, because whenever now I pass next to AUB and I say I should have listened to him and study at AUB. The importance of AUB is the heritage, the importance of the education. It's not just for Lebanon but for all the Middle East region. So it's very important for students and even for us, for everybody, because you can feel the importance, and having doctors, having professors, having students with the deep content, having when we worked with them, and Dr. Houri, he was the editor-in-chief of the special edition, we felt the importance of AUB when we were working with the experts, and they gave us amazing content, the content that you can give to all the politicians and the responsible in the country to make a change. The manifesto we did, it's really important. At that moment, when you always hear and listen about AUB from my grandfather, from other people, you don't maybe, you realize, but not as much as when you work on a project and wow, all the amazing content. And even working closely with Dr. Houri, he was reading each and every article and following the details. So you feel the responsibility, the importance of all this. And for us, we have to save Lebanon. We have to save all the sector of education, media, health, cultural, tourism, because this is Lebanon. This is who we are and what we are as AUB, as An-Nahar, as all those, important names for Lebanon and even for the region. You can feel the freedom, you can feel the everything.
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely couldn't agree more. I do hope that AUB gets the privilege of you visiting their campus as a student one day. I think that would be incredible.
I will.
For everybody there. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us, and God bless you and your entire family. I hope you guys...
we have God bless Lebanon, God bless all the Lebanese, and what we're passing through, it's really difficult, and we need you, we need all the Lebanese abroad to help Lebanon, because those days are really difficult.
Yes.
I passed through this 15 years ago, and I lost my father, and I can tell you it's more difficult than 15 years ago for me and for the whole Lebanese people. I don't know how they are really survivors, not just after the 4th of August, but in every single day you have to think about the Lebanese people, because they are really heroes, each and every one.
Yes.
Because it's really tough, psychologically, emotionally, the work, the life, how we're trying to survive. It's really difficult.
It is. It's Herculean that we're...
Lebanese and Lebanon, and we need all your prayers and your help.
God bless. Amen to that. Thank you so much, Ms. Twainy, for joining us. It was an honor and a privilege. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you hopefully soon in Beirut.
And hope to see you soon in Lebanon.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Much sooner than you might imagine. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm waiting for you.
Okay, I'll take you up on that offer. Maybe we'll grab coffee at AUB on campus, and we can enroll you. I'm now acting
AUB,
as an AUB,
and after that An-Nahar.
An-Nahar, done.
See all the damages.
Yeah. Please keep doing what you're doing. We need you.
We will.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the incredible Naila Twainy. We have many more guests coming. I had the unique opportunity to sit down, and I'm glad we did this, because I'm seeing right here, right now. Yep. Okay. As I thought, So as I thought, I recorded an interview with our next guest in case he had to go for an emergency situation, and he did, and you'll understand what I mean in a second. Our next guest is CNN's senior international correspondent based in Beirut. He has extensive experience having covered the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI. He's been covering the election of Pope Francis, the migrant crisis, the civil war in Syria, the military-backed overthrow of Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi, the Gaza War of 2014, the war against ISIS in Iraq, and the failed Turkish coup d'etat in July 2016. Before joining CNN, our next guest worked as a freelance print journalist based in Amman, Jordan, covering the news in Syria, Jordan, the Palestinian territories, and Sudan. I know you guys are going to know who I'm talking about when I pull him up. I had the unique privilege to sit down with Ben Wiedemann, a legendary CNN correspondent. Here's what he had to say.
Well, let me start by saying, Nemr, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Of course.
Me and AUB go back a long way. I've never actually studied there, but I went to ACS in the 1970s.
Oh.
And I spent a lot of time on the AUB track at the time. And I did actually want to go to AUB, but because of the war, I wasn't able to. I ended up going to an AUC in Cairo, where I met my wife, so it wasn't a complete loss. Now, every day I ride my bike from my home in Manara to central Beirut along the Corniche, and I pass by on my left the AUB beach, which features some of the best tans in the Middle East, and on my right, the AUB track. And I always think of what I could have done if I had gone to AUB. Now, my late father, was a diplomat with the US State Department. His last posting was in Damascus, Syria. After he retired, he donated money every year to AUB. Why? He told me because he had seen through his career so many people who made such a difference, not only in the Middle East, around the world, who had gone to AUB. And therefore, until he died every year, he contributed as much as he could to AUB. And what I see on a daily basis, really, is what important work AUB graduates are doing around the world, but certainly in Lebanon at the moment. For instance, we're focusing on the coronavirus pandemic, which is getting very, very serious here in Lebanon. Yesterday, we recorded our largest daily increase since the first case was recorded on the 21st of February. And one of our main sources for real, reliable information is Dr. Firas Abyad, who, of course, is a graduate of AUB. And whether we're covering the revolution that broke out almost exactly a year ago, whether we're covering coronavirus, we always run into AUB graduates, and they always impress you with the caliber of their skills and their understanding. And so this is an institution unique in the region, and one that the region needs going forward in a very challenging time.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Obviously, I'm a bit biased. I'm an AUB graduate. I'm going to take what you just said and send it to my father to get his approval and recognition. But on a much more serious note, I was surprised. I did not know that you grew up in Lebanon. You said you went to ACS, so you spent part of your life in this country.
I spent a couple years at ACS, but because of the war, I ended up moving to Morocco. But I was in the boarding school because my father was based in the Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, at the time. But of course, that's when I started my relationship with Lebanon. But as a CNN reporter throughout much of the second half of the 1990s, the early 2000s, of course, 2006, I spent a lot of time in this country. And of course, I've been based here as CNN's correspondent and now for exactly 3 years. So Lebanon and I go way back, and AUB has always been part of that.
Well, I can tell you, I, for one, and I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people, we're very happy that you're still in Lebanon, and we're very happy that you enjoy the country the way that you do, and that you've done so much work to help the country. I want to thank you so much for everything you've done, and thank you once again for your time today, sir, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Nemr, and I wish you and AUB all the best.
Yes, sir. That was Ben Wiedemann, CNN international correspondent. Everybody knows Ben. That was incredible. He's covering a story right now. That's why he couldn't be with us live. So I'm glad we thought about doing that ahead of time. I want to give you guys an update. First of all, I am blown away. Thank you so much for the donations. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please keep donating. Don't stop, because I have some incredible announcements. We have reached $91,000. That's $91,000, which will also unlock the match for Rula and Fuad Tamer. Rula and Fuad Tamer, who have pledged a match of $20,000. We have met that, and they have pledged, and they have given their $20,000 as well. So thank you so much, Rula and Fuad Tamer, for your generosity. However, I have another announcement. This just came in. In fact, he reached out in the comments section on YouTube, and I want to thank him for doing that. And he's an AUB trustee emeritus. His name is Riyad Kamal, and he pledged a $100,000 match. So we're just under $100,000. And I mean, this is incredible. I do want to tell you guys a bit about him. He's been a trustee since 2008 and a trustee emeritus since 2019. He's the founder of Arab Tech Construction, which is one of the 5 largest contractors in the MENA region. Which specializes in building and civil engineering works, and has constructed a number of world-class developments, including Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. Kamal is a member of several boards, including Turkland Bank, Istanbul, Turkey, Arabia Insurance Company, Beirut, Lebanon, Gulf Capital, Abu Dhabi and UAE, and Rotana Hotels Company in Abu Dhabi. He's an advisory board member for the Middle East and North Africa of Deutsche Bank, and he is the founder of DIPA, United Group, Dubai, and trustee of the Welfare Association in Geneva, and he is a graduate of Imperial College, BS in Civil Engineering 65, MS in Construction Engineering 66, and he just pledged $100,000 once we cross $100,000. In fact, I'm even confused if we've already crossed $100,000. I'm not sure if the $91,000 includes the $20,000. I'm going to get an update for you guys on that. But speaking of incredible people who have made huge changes in this world, I want to introduce you to a quick snippet from a very, very incredible AUB family. A lot of us know Amal Alameddin, otherwise known as Amal Clooney, and she's an incredible activist. But I want you to meet her family, all AUBites, her mother, her father, and her uncle, AUBites. You're going to see them in a second. I just want to tell you about them. Baria Alameddin, who is Amal's mother, is an award-winning political journalist, and she received several Lifetime Achievement Awards. She received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the 2018 Commonwealth Business Women's Awards and the 2018 Arab Women of the Year Award for Achievement in Media through Regents University. Her father, Ramzi Alameddin, Amal's father and Baria's husband, has had an incredible career, a pioneer really in business, travel, and in tourism and the aviation industry in the region and across the entire Middle East. And he later went on to become an instructor and lecturer at several universities, including a stint at AUB. Akram Miknas, Amal's uncle, is one of the media empire moguls of the Middle East. He's best known for being the head of MCN, which is the parent company of Fortune Promo 7, Universal Media 7, and he is recognized as one of the Middle East's 50 most powerful people in media, marketing, and advertising. He's written several books, and well, I got the chance to sit down with him because of the way the world is right now. They're all over the world, from the UK to Bahrain to Lebanon. I would like you to meet an incredible family.
I started loving it as I was born in the university hospital.
Oh.
And the first, I faced AUB when I breathed, first time I breathed. So it was about in 1938.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Without calculating, I'm 82 years old. Anyway.
Swallah.
It was a bastion of Arab culture, of Arab nationalism. It represented for me freedom, democracy. It represented that I can go and demonstrate every time I want. It represented dialogue. It represented like everything I aspired for, human rights. So yes, this is AUB and many things more. I tell you, if we don't have AUB, in Lebanon. We need to have invented it.
You know, to me, AUB is a way of life. I mean, I think I owe a lot. Probably I owe what I have now to AUB. You know, this is an institution that has surpassed a lot of issues and a lot of challenges, if you like. A lot of hurdles. I mean, it's incredible. I don't believe anybody has gone through anything like what AUB has gone through.
My grandfather, Dr. Ali Alamuddin, he graduated with the first graduating doctors in 1892.
Wow.
So it's earlier than most of us. It was 126 years ago. So our family has roots in AUB, and we really love AUB.
Because I do believe that it has given us an inspiration which is incredible.
I'm glad it's there. I'm glad, and I'm praying it will stay and it will flourish, and we'll have more and more prosperous years. And how can you say Lebanon and not say AUB? It doesn't work.
I envy myself because I was there, and I feel sorry for those who could not be with me.
What a great sentence. I'm not surprised that you came up with that. That should be their new slogan. AUB, be here or feel bad for those who can't join you. That's
Absolutely. Well, you see, I mean, as you know, advertising was my first business and passion. I'm not saying that I'm not putting anybody down, but I think AUB has just given a bit more than anybody else.
I agree. I think we're both biased, but we definitely agree on that point.
Well, maybe I'm biased, but it has worked for me.
It worked for me. It worked for me too. So
I can tell.
That was hilarious. What a beautiful family. I really enjoyed speaking with them, and they said it best. And I also share something in common with Ramzi Alamuddin. I too was born in the AUB hospital. In fact, my mother, God bless her, who's also an AUB graduate. I come from a line of AUBites. She's watching. She was like, "You were born in an AUB hospital too, Nemr, with a giant heart." I mean, that's Lebanese mothers right there for you. Love you, Mom. My sister is also an AUBite. She's in the room inside, organizing everything behind the scenes. So I just want to give them a shout out. And yeah, I was born in an AUB hospital too. So that's really, really something amazing. Thank you so much to Baria Alamuddin, Ramzi Alamuddin, and Akram Miknas for taking the time to sit down with me and tell their story. An incredible AUB family. Really something incredible to behold. We have more guests coming. Keep those donations coming in. I'm getting to the bottom of exactly where we are in the donations with the matching, the very generous $100,000 match offer. This is beyond what I thought was going to happen today. This is way beyond what I thought was going to happen today. And people are pledging right now. Riyad Kamal, who literally dropped a YouTube comment. And I mean, I never thought in a million years that I would see a YouTube comment that says, "Hey, Nemr, I'll match $100,000 if you." I mean, Jesus Christ, it's amazing. So we got more guests coming up. Our next guest that I want to introduce is the managing partner of the E14 Fund that is affiliated with the MIT Media Lab. He's the founder of Wamda and also of Yamli. I used to use Yamli. I'm sure a lot of you used to, which was a startup that was focused on linguistics and the Arabic language. He sold that Yamli to Yahoo in 2012. Yamli was that app where you could write in English and it would Arabicize it, if you will. He's won many awards and was recognized in 2009 as a young global leader by the World Economic Forum. He earned a BE degree in computer and communications engineering from AUB in 2002. So I just missed him. I graduated in 2005, and a master's degree in electrical engineering from USC. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome an incredible individual, incredible AUBite, none other than Habib Haddad. Habib, so good to see you. How are you?
So good to see you too. I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy that you're with us here today. You're looking great. I love the beard.
Yes, the COVID beard.
The COVID. Oh, is that me too? We got. Habib, you've had an incredible life, and you've accomplished more in a few years than most people might ever in a lifetime. With that journey you've been on, what would you say makes AUB necessary?
Yeah, you know, Nemr, I truly believe that the richness and complexity of individuals are largely a reflection of the complexity and richness of our environment. And when I think back at my entrepreneurship career and I think of what made me successful, I think of three main traits: chaotic creativity, persistence, and procrastination. And I'll explain. So I was a CCE major, as you said. So I would walk up to campus from the Seagate, and as soon as I set foot on campus, I would get overtaken by a creative energy. That and the weird smell of the lower campus trees. Remember those?
That's the weird smell of the lower. Yes.
But then, it's as if I got just transposed into this magical, comfortable, chaotic place, navigating between contradictory micro communities that feed off of each other's energy. You have those who pulled an all-nighters, those who are talking zeros and ones, including myself, those who are organizing the next concert, those who are working on protests, and those organizing the counter-protests. So this creative, chaotic petri dish, if you want, gives AUB students the ability to navigate and adapt to complex and uncertain environments and to keep evolving. And that's a key trait for entrepreneurs. Now, let me tell you about persistence. I remember this one particular time in class when I was probably being foolish and not paying attention, as I often used to do in my early days. And this was a professor that I really looked up to, Dr. Ayman Aisi. So he actually stops the class, calls me out and says, "Hey, Habib, do you have plans for grad school?" And I thought to myself, well, of course. And I said, yes. And then he said, "Good luck," and went on with the class. And that just hit home for me. Being creative and smart wasn't enough. I needed to also have a plan. I needed to get my shit together, basically. And it's the academic rigor at AUB that made me understand the importance of persistence and determination. And that's another key trait for being an entrepreneur. Now, finally, let me tell you about how procrastination fits in it all. As AUB students, we are privileged to have the amazing backdrop of the sea and the mountains and everything that Beirut has to offer. So naturally, that led to a lot of daydreaming. Now, that may seem bad, but it turns out that procrastination gives space to the brain to think in nonlinear ways.
It does.
To pull on divergent thoughts, mix them together, and come up with unconventional ideas. In your case, it was unconventional jokes. In my case, it was unconventional products. And so I think academic institutions could give you 2 out of the 3, but it's rare that you get the 3 out of 3. So AUB is quite unique in making us well-rounded human beings to face challenges of this ever-changing world. So this is why AUB is so dear to my heart. My wife is an AUB graduate. We joke that our son is a compounded AUB product. In fact, Dr. Ayman Aisi, who I mentioned earlier, fast forward 15 years later, we actually worked together on a project at the AUB, and we launched at the Maroon Sam'an Faculty of Engineering and Architecture with the Dean, the Alan Shahade, a project around entrepreneurship that today has been pushing students into kind of entrepreneurial realms. In fact, just 2 days ago, I got an email from someone in Silicon Valley, a student who was part of this program about 2-3 years ago.
Wow.
I was still in the Middle East, and said, "Hey, I'm working on a startup. Can you help me out?" So just goes to tell you how strong the network is, not just on campus, but also off campus.
That's very true. It is a global network. I feel that every day. It just grows and grows and grows. It's a mixture of, I think, the AUB infrastructure and the way Lebanese people are set up to not be in one place ever at one time. I'd like to thank you for everything you've done, but I'd also like to thank you for standing up for procrastination. I think a lot of people watching right now are like, this guy's my hero right here. This is Was Yamli a product of procrastination?
Absolutely. I mean,
Wow.
I was really probably one of the worst Arabic students in class. I mean, I was, everyone would joke that, I mean, actually, Yamli, the actual word, was supposed to be Yumli, because grammatically, Yumli is the actual verb of saying to dictate. But being that bad for Arabic student, I came up with Yamli. And so it just goes to tell you that sometimes just daydreaming is a good thing. Being bored is a good thing. So don't get stuck to your Instagrams and Facebook feeds. Get bored. That's good. It's a good thing.
That's true. I couldn't agree more. That's where I come up with my best jokes. Habib, thank you so much for joining us today, sir. Best of luck to you for everything, and thanks for your support for AUB.
Thank you, Nemr.
Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Habib Haddad. Another incredible guest. Let me keep taking a look here and see what's going on. Everything is under control. Fantastic. We have more amazing guests. We dove already today in the media world with a lot of our guests. We've jumped into journalism. And right now I want to take you down a bit of a musical journey. So I'm just going to go ahead and admit our next 2 guests, because I'm actually going to be talking to both of them at the same time. So you're going to have to give me a second to just get everything set up, but I'm going to introduce them right now. These are guys that I actually had on my podcast because their story fascinated me so much. I was using a product of theirs that I didn't even know they made, and it doesn't stop there. You might have seen, I don't know if you noticed here, I have a bunch of guitars in the background. I like to play music. It's something I dabble in. Also, I want to give a shout out to AUB for sending me a cooking book back in the day from the Philadelphia chapter. So thank you for this. This is a beautiful cookbook that AUB put together of Lebanese recipes. I have it back here. But I used a product called the Rodi Tuner, and it was an incredible product that revolutionized the music industry. And the music industry doesn't get revolutionized very often. It's pretty much, violins are still violins and guitars are still guitars, and you have incremental jumps. They created a device that'll allow you to tune a guitar. It's like, I wish I should have brought it to show you, but you basically put it on the tuning keg, and then you just strum the guitar and it tunes it for you. It hears it, it tunes it in a second. Robotics, it's incredible. Then I find out that Lebanese people are behind it. One of the most successful products in the music world, and a huge Kickstarter. Then I find out even more, which makes it even more interesting, that the product is designed and made, and they are located, and they employ people in Lebanon, and they still do to this day. And I'm going to talk more about them in a second, but I want to introduce them. I'm going to bring them up in a second. We have with us, joining us, Hassan Slaibi and Bassam Jalgha. Hassan Slaibi is the CEO and co-founder of Band Industries, which is a music technology startup developed by the Rodi Tuner. And the Rodi Tuner, like I said, is the most incredible thing. It's won the TechCrunch Disrupt Audience Choice Award, the London Design Award, and is one of Amazon Launchpad's products of choice. He graduated from AUB in 2009 with a BE in Computer and Communications Engineering. Bassam Jalgha is the CTO and co-founder of Band Industries, which is also behind the Rodi Tuner. And he is also going to be joining us today, and he graduated, listen to this, with both a BE in 2008 and an ME in 2011, which is both in mechanical engineering. And I'm so glad they wrote mechanical engineering, because I was like, I don't even know what an ME degree is, also from AUB. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming very wonderful Lebanese young man, Bassam Jalgha and Hassan Slaibi. Gentlemen, it's good to see you again.
Likewise. Good to see you too.
You're joining us. Who's in Dubai? Who's in Lebanon? If I'm not mistaken, I think it's Hassan in Dubai, right?
Yeah, I'm in Dubai at the moment.
And
I'm in Beirut.
And you're in Beirut. Gentlemen,
Yes.
You guys have an incredible product, but what makes me more in love with the product was when I found out that you're designing it and making it in Lebanon. But before we jump into that, and I asked you, Hassan, I said, is after the explosion, after the port, what's going to happen? And your answer was, we're very excited about the future. In fact, we're hiring more people. Everything is great. So I'm going to touch back on that in a second. But I just wanted to ask you super quick, can you please share the story of how this product, because when I say how is AUB necessary, I think that kind of brings it up, because just tell everybody, if you can, how this product came to be.
Sure. Bassam, do you want to do it?
Yeah, sure. So the idea started off actually when I was in class at AUB. I was taking the control system design class, and this is when the idea came to my mind. I wanted to do it as a final project for the class, but then the teacher didn't allow us because he told us what project we need to work on, and the idea stayed in my mind. And this is the amazing thing about AUB, is that it gives us so many possibilities for extracurricular activities. So I was so much into music back then that I joined the music club. We had a band. It was called Mesa. And I spent more times in the upper campus than the lower campus.
Everybody does. It's the place to be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's amazing, like the amount of exposure you get to arts. I was part of the arts club. I was part of the music club. I was taking, philosophy classes, literature classes. And this is where I met Hassan 13 years ago. He came into the music room and he wanted to join the band. And since then, it's been 13 years that we're actually close friends. And we started this company. Fast forward 13 years later, we have a company together and we're manufacturing and shipping a product all over the world. Musicians all over the world use it. And so the idea developed with me and Hassan. So I started off by myself initially, and I went on to Stars of Science, which is a competition. And I got exposed to Stars of Science actually through AUB. And I won the competition. And since then, Hassan has been helping me and assisting me. And then in 2012, that's when Hassan came back to Lebanon and we decided to start this business together. And there's how our story came to be. So if it wasn't for AUB, honestly,
it wouldn't have happened. And if I remember, it was because you were frustrated with having to tune your oud or bizzle, was it?
Exactly.
The oud. You were like, I can't keep doing this. This is ridiculous. I need a machine.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is how it started off. Eventually, we realized the need and the importance of having, to accurately tune your instrument all the time and having to have it consistent all the time, and the ability to, flexibility to be able to move between tunings. So the idea developed and evolved since then. But yeah, it started off, as an idea, as a fun project I wanted to do for one of the AUB courses.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And now you guys are located in Lebanon. Hassan, perhaps, I mean, just explain to me how that's even possible right now after the explosion, when you told me we're actually hiring new people. Or is it?
Yeah, so I think a lot of I've been following the show since it started, and a lot of the guests touch on culture and what AUB really stands for. Let me geek out a little bit as a computer engineer and tell you about the technical skills of AUB students. And this is actually what brought us back to Lebanon and deciding to build a company in Lebanon. So when I graduated, I traveled around the world. I visited so many countries. I actually worked in Japan, this is where I did my internship, and I went to Australia, then China, then the UK, then the US. I've worked or taught or worked closely with people from all those countries. And what I realized is that we don't lack anything as AUB grads technically. And as a matter of fact, when we graduate, I think more than half the students leave the country and go to the Googles and Yahoos and the Facebooks of the world. So they join those really big companies. So based on this idea, we thought, okay, we want to build this company, and we had the options of either founding it in the US or in Lebanon. We decided to do it in Lebanon purely for this reason, because of the talent that we have access to in Lebanon.
Incredible.
And now when you talk to me after the explosion, we were of course devastated. Two of our team members had big losses in their houses as well. Luckily, nothing no one got injured.
No health. Good, thank God.
Yeah, but yeah, when those things happen, it just pushes us to do more. I feel like this is our role. This is the change we want to see happen, and AUB is definitely part of it. If I may add one quick thing also about AUB, it's a recent development. When we graduated in 2009, I had not heard the word startup back then, or entrepreneurship, or any of that. So 2 or 3 years ago, someone from the engineering department called me up and said they're organizing a hackathon for their entrepreneurship class at the engineering school. And then next year they had the business school called me up, and they had a whole program for entrepreneurship. So seeing this, movement towards entrepreneurship at AUB, so not just the amazing technical skills that we graduating entrepreneurs is actually what we really need for a change in Lebanon, the region, our communities, and so on and so forth.
So true. That's probably, you just laid out a very compelling argument for why AUB is necessary. The two of you did. Gentlemen, I'm super excited about your product. On a separate note, I want to wish you luck. I know the second version of the Roadie Tuner is coming out, or the third? Is it second or third now? Third. The third version is coming out in, when is it coming out?
So it's supposed to come out in a couple of weeks, but we're working remotely with China right now because of the COVID situation. So that's a challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know the excitement is palpable. People online are waiting for this. You guys have been backed by, it was Kickstarter, right? That was one of the most successful Kickstarters. I wish you all the luck. Thank you for fighting to stay in Lebanon, and thank you for recognizing everything Lebanon has to offer and for supporting AUB.
Thank you for having us.
As well.
Of course.
The same.
Good luck, gentlemen. I'll see you soon in Beirut.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Hassan Slaibi and Bassam Jadra. Just really, really inspiring individuals, if I may say so myself. We have more guests coming up as well, so I don't want you to go anywhere. Many, many more very fascinating guests that we're going to be diving in to the things, deeper and deeper into the holy cow. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, I need to give you guys an update. Okay, first of all, please keep donating, okay? If you're on AUB or you're on Facebook, the donation links are in the captions below, in the description of the video you're watching right now. If you're on Twitch, there are 2 panels below. You'll see there are 2 links for all platforms. If you're donating from within Lebanon, make sure you click on the button that says, or the link that says, donate from Lebanon. If you're donating from anywhere else in the world, just click on the one that says donate from. And please, please donate. We have raised... Okay, I'm just making sure I'm getting this right. We have raised, and this is without matching, $145,000. I repeat, without matching, you guys have raised $145,000. We have one match for $20,000 from AUB trustee Philip Winder. We have another match that was very, very generous from the Tamer family for $20,000. And we have... I'm just making sure, I'm just really making sure I'm not messing any information up. And then we have a $100,000 match, very generous by trustee Riyad Kamal. So if you take the $145,000 we raised, and you add on top of that the $140,000 that have been matched, ladies and gentlemen, we have raised $285,000 on this stream today. This is incredible. Thank you so much for the support. And it doesn't stop there. We have a new match offer that has just come in from the Gangarosa family. The Gangarosa family, and I'm going to get you some information on them in a bit because I want to make sure we if we can get their story, have actually there's the information. They've matched $150,000. They're going to match $150,000. I'm going to get more information on how this is going to work. Dr. Gangarosa is the first dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at AUB, and the Gangarosa family have just pledged $150,000. I'm going to get you more details on that and how it factors in to everything else, but this is absolutely, absolutely incredible. Please, please keep donating because we are looking to make a massive impact today on this stream. And I can't thank you enough. Donation links on YouTube and Facebook in the description. On Twitch, 2 panels below the video you're watching right now. Let's keep it going. This next guest, I'm very excited to bring on to the show right now. Let me just make sure I'm admitting him. There we go. Our next guest is an internationally renowned director of opera, theater, and film. His many honors include a MacArthur Fellowship, the Polar Music Prize, and the Erasmus Prize for contributions to European culture. He received the Doctorate of Humane Letters from AUB in 2015. Nice, Nemr. You see, I'm a business student. In 2015, he received the Doctorate of Humane Letters from AUB, recognition that I think was definitely overdue. He's a distinguished professor at UCLA in the Department of World Arts and Cultures, Dance, and the director of the Boethius Initiative at UCLA. And he has been the artistic director of the Los Angeles Festival, the New Crowned Hope in Vienna of 2006, the American National Theater at the Kennedy Center, and the Boston Shakespeare Company. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome an incredible, incredible individual, Mr. Peter Sellers. Peter, it is so good to see you. How are you?
Nemr, it's amazing to see you and to see you in action and to see the electricity spread across the planet. Thank you.
Look,
way to go.
If we've had any electricity on this show right now, I think we've just had an electric surge with your presence right here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, before we jump into it, how are you doing? Coronavirus, craziness around the world. How's everything with you personally?
Well, I mean, in my line of work, you actually look for the crisis because the crisis means there will be change. And it means that we actually have an open space again. And its space is radically open. And so let's move. And let's not just move to do what they did before. Let's move to something that has never been done yet.
Yes.
And this is the time. And, you know, what has never been there and what has never been good enough, let's go. And so this is a kind of amazing opening. And of course, the planet, was trying to get the attention of the human race and couldn't. So finally, for the climate emergency, it called up its friend, the virus, and said, could you do something with these people? I can't get their attention. The virus said, I think I can make them at least stop for a moment. I don't know what will happen after that, but for a second, they might just stop. And so finally, the virus said, I'm going to go all over the world. I'm not going to just choose this and that. I am going to go everywhere so the human race realizes, excuse me, it's one race. It's one race. Come on, people, wake up. The virus is here to announce that. And of course, the virus is here to say, where are the most fragilized places? Where have people never been living well, never been living healthily, never been living as equals? What are the under-resourced places on this earth? The virus has arrived with its highlighter to say, please, pay attention.
Yes, sir.
And the idea, none of us knew 7 months ago that this virus was here to say the 3 words, Black Lives Matter. And what it means that all over the world, wherever there are people of color and Black people living, is the space of greatest environmental degradation. And so this is the call to arms right now. And I have to say, working at university is really an exciting thing, because universities are all over the world in total economic freefall. And at the same time, for me, that's such an exciting opportunity, because we can go back to what it was to have a university in 1890, when it was just a handful of people on the Hill saying, what kind of country do we want to have? And really trying to create that country. And that type of idealism, that type of vision, that type of, we're planting seeds for generations. And that's what we're doing. We're not just trying to make it through the week. And that sense that education, which has become, of course, very, very practically oriented, which is understandable, but minus a certain vision element and minus a certain total idealism, which is actually the only reason to get out of bed in the morning, is that you imagine something that has not yet been seen. And we need to live there and that way. And for me, Beirut is this light on a hill all over the world, because it's the hope of cosmopolitanism. It's the hope of people living actually not just together, but on top of each other. I mean, this incredible, not just sharing politely, but actually everybody inside everybody else's lives in the most thrilling way. And for me, Beirut is just exhilarating. And this hope for deep urban life, deep cosmopolitanism, what it means that everything that I have is also yours, because we are sharing everything on this street, in this apartment building. And that kind of intensity of lived life of Beirut is the most beautiful example for the planet. And of course, the pulse of the Middle East is the political and economic pulse of the world. And so it's not just a little space somewhere on Earth. It is actually all of the central nervous system is connected right there in the Middle East, and it moves across the planet. And so for me, AUB is this crucial link in helping the world go to the post-COVID space. And what I'm always telling people is, excuse me, I'm not afraid of what's next. We've been through what's horrifying, which is the creation of a nightmare universe of billionaires and total poverty. And excuse me, can we do better? Yes. Definitely. And so for me, I'm actually truly looking forward now to what is right in front of us.
That's the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm leaving. You can't. We can't.
Anyway, for me, AUB has this quality because it's created this cultural life in Beirut, this protected cultural life, if I can say. And for me, one of the most incredible things is, freedom of thought and speech need to be protected. And a lot of things that are not yet ready for prime time, there needs to be a space where it's incubated, where people imagine, where people debate, where it's not out there. It's actually in a incredibly rich and supportive but protected environment where we can actually open ourselves to incredible possibilities and test them in a really supportive community and environment. And for me, AUB has that kind of magical space. It's engaged, its face is outward looking, and at the same time, the campus itself is this jewel that is protected. And I think all of us as human beings need this space of refuge, need this space of something green and quiet and supportive and positive. And at this moment, everybody knows how to curse. The question is, can we remember how to bless everything we touch and recognize the blessing that actually comes from people together supporting each other's best sides and most idealistic dreams. And for me, AUB has classically represented that. And yes, I'm thrilled that there are doctors all over the world, thank God. And thank God, particularly in the year we're facing a virus.
Yeah.
But I have to also say, for me, the AUB is a real cradle of another type of thinking, another space to imagine, and a genuinely idealistic, deep root system. And that goes way back through generations, and that's going to go way forward.
God bless. You, sir, need to be protected at all costs. That much I can tell you. The comment section, you've just gained a fanship of. I'm looking at the comments right now. People are going crazy. People are saying, why don't I have a professor like that? So imagine this guy teaching you guys. I have a bunch of people losing it right now. Peter, thank you so much for that absolutely beautiful and touching intervention on behalf of AUB. Thank you for everything you do for that university and for standing up for everybody around the world that's disenfranchised. God bless you. I wish you nothing but the best.
Carry on, and let's keep this going all the way.
Yes, sir. You got it. Thank you so much.
More power to you, Nemr.
More power to you too, sir. Bye-bye. Peter Sellers, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I talked to him last week. I was like, I cannot wait to get this gentleman on the show. This is absolutely incredible. This is people are all like, I want a professor like that. Don't we all? Ladies and gentlemen, we have many more guests coming up, and we're getting towards the end of the show. So please keep donating. If you haven't already, please consider donating. If you can, donate again. The donation links are in the captions of the video on YouTube and Facebook. And if you're on Twitch, there are 2 panels below. Donating from within Lebanon, make sure you click on that link, and anywhere else in the world, click on the other link. I sat down with our next guest because he couldn't join us at this time. He's a political consultant on U.S. foreign policy and the Middle East. He's an adjunct professor at George Washington University's Elliott School of International Affairs. He's also the founder and director of Global Policy Associates. He earned a BA in political science with distinction at AUB in 2002 and a master's degree in international relations and international business from Georgetown University. He's an incredible individual. His name is Firas Maqsad. And I sat down with him, and well, this is what he had to say when I asked him what he believes makes AUB so necessary.
Nemr, thank you for including me on the show. It is a true pleasure and an honor to be helping AUB and giving back to AUB, given how much it's given us.
Of course.
Maybe I am unique in today's program, but I don't believe that my story is unique. I think it's quite representative of the many illustrious graduates of AUB. What a great educational institutions. But I do believe in anecdotes, and I do believe that we all we can all share our stories with AUB. Mine, in many ways, is typical. I graduated. I got on a plane the very next month. A job was waiting for me abroad. And I actually got a job with a former U.S. presidential envoy, an envoy to the Middle East, President Clinton's Middle East peace envoy. And I remember that my first day on the job, walking into this, this accomplished diplomat's office, and he couldn't believe that I had just stepped up a plane from Beirut. He was convinced that I must be a product of some prestigious U.S. university, in the United States. And he said, I remember him saying, "Are you the kid that just stepped off the plane from Beirut?" This is the caliber of people that AUB puts out there. Again, this is nothing that is unique to me. I do think that it is representative of many of the stories and many of the people that AUB, runs through its great halls and great classrooms. Until today, I mean, there is today a U.S. presidential envoy, the U.S. presidential envoy to Afghanistan. He is a graduate of AUB, and I think people don't fully comprehend the impact that AUB has on Washington, D.C., but also on important capitals around the world. We tend to think of AUB as an American institution, and so at least from a U.S. perspective, we think about it as projecting American influence, American culture abroad, in this case, and particularly Lebanon. But in my experience is that it actually does the opposite too. The number of Lebanese who walk the streets of Washington, D.C., who are either diplomats or work for think tanks or NGOs or academic institutions or the World Bank or the IMF, you name it, the degree of influence and what we refer to in political science as soft power on behalf of Lebanon that these AUB graduates carry with them around the world is immense and immeasurable. Quite often I hear people saying, well, if it wasn't for all the Lebanese in Washington, D.C. and Paris and London, Lebanon wouldn't have all the empathy from world leaders that it currently enjoys. And unfortunately, at a time where Lebanon needs all the assistance, needs all the help, and needs all the empathy that it can get. So for all these reasons, I think supporting AUB is absolutely vital, and supporting AUB is necessary.
Okay, we might as well just end the episode now. I don't think we could get a better argument for why AUB is so necessary, but thank you for sharing that, man, because that's what I mean. Like, I'm a comedian. I meet a lot of people in all walks of life. It's rare to meet people who are deep in very high political circles. To hear you mentioning that there is that soft power, as you mentioned it really is. When you come from a country as small as Lebanon, to be able to have any kind of significance whatsoever really retains on how brilliantly its citizens shine. So to hear that AUB is influencing it in that way was something I actually didn't know myself until I started talking with you. So thanks for all the work that you're doing. Thanks for representing Lebanon everywhere. And see if you can lobby to get some money to Lebanon. We'll get ourselves out. I'm just kidding.
We'll do all we can, Nemr.
Yeah, I know you are. And in the meantime,
the Lebanese are always good at asking for money.
Yeah, we're good. Hey, if they ever want to support a comedian's political outreach program, I don't have one. I could make one. I'm an AUB grad. Let's make it happen.
You and I can talk off air about that one. Yeah.
Firas, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, man. Best of luck to you and all our love to you and your lovely family.
My pleasure.
Take care. Bye-bye. That was the wonderful, wonderful Firas Maqsad. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep the show going. I do want to make a quick announcement before we bring up our next guest, and I'm very excited for our next guest. First of all, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of myself personally and the American University of Beirut for all the donations that are flooding in. Your contributions, we're getting small donations that are adding up into the biggest amounts we've ever seen. And I'm about to tell you what that is. But for everybody donating $100, $20, $10, $5, whatever you're donating, you're making an incredible impact and you're helping in a way that you can't even begin to understand. AUB needs all of us now more than ever. The economic devastation that Lebanon is suffering is unprecedented. The political devastation is unprecedented. And when you look at a situation that is so hopeless, having a beacon of hope like AUB isn't just necessary, it is everything. And with your support today, we are ensuring that not only are we going to help with a financial contribution, but we are going to help by raising awareness of the importance of AUB and everything that they do that I'm sure a lot of you didn't even know. Hell, I didn't even know. At the moment, I want to make clear that all donations made today will go towards the AUB all donations made today will go towards the AUB for Beirut disaster funds. These include money that will go to the Aub Medical Center, to campus, to scholarships, to the community programs like we've shown throughout the show, and other university priorities that are at this time especially critical. We have raised $292,000. I repeat, we have raised $292,000. This does not include the $150,000 pledge that came from the Gangarosa family. And I want to tell you a bit more about the Gangarosa family. This money that they are offering, the $150,000 donation that they're going to match when we reach an extra $150,000 over when they entered the drive, is to support the Gangarosa family chair for safe water and sanitation that they just established at AUB. Safe water and sanitation are critical to the future of Beirut and the world, and they are pledging $150,000, the Gangarosa family, to go straight towards the safe water and sanitation family chair that they have established at AUB. This is incredibly generous, this is incredibly powerful, and this is incredibly necessary. Thank you to the Gangarosa family. Thank you so, so much. Our next guests are Lebanese icons, Lebanese legends, and really they, pride is the only word I can think of. Let me introduce them before I bring them up. Our next two guests, one is a Lebanese actress, a director, and an activist who is known for her portrayal of everyday aspects of Lebanese life. She directed and co-wrote the screenplay for the incredible Capernaum, which was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film in 2019. In 2016, she received an honorary doctorate in humane letters from the American University of Beirut. She received the Issam M. Faris Award for Excellence at the Middle East Institute's 73rd Annual Awards Gala in 2019. And she has delivered some of the most incredible movies and incredible stories over the past decade, if not longer, and has made Lebanon super proud. You all know her and love her as Nadine Lebaki. Our other guest that's going to be joining us is Khalid Muzannar, a legendary and iconic Lebanese composer, songwriter, writer, and film producer. He is also an activist who is working tirelessly on the preservation of Lebanon's heritage by preventing the demolition of traditional houses and preserving green spaces. This is something that Lebanon, this is a warrior's effort in Lebanon because the forces of evil that want to get rid of these are insane. Khalid Muzannar is the co-founder of the Capernaum Foundation, and it just so happens that Khalid Muzannar and Nadine Lebaki are married, making them effectively one hell of a power couple. And I would like you guys to help me welcome them here. It's Nadine Lebaki and Mr. Khalid Muzannar. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, the two of you. How are you? It's connecting to audio at the moment. So what we're seeing right now is a live Zoom confusion. We're going to give them a second to do that. Let them sort that out. I'm going to switch. There we go. Okay. They came right in. Hello.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Hi.
No, perfect. Hi, that was really charming. How are you? How are the two of you doing? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
No, not at all. We couldn't do it without support like the support you're giving. And Khalid, thank you also, the two of you having you here. It's a privilege and an honor. The chat section right now is pretty much losing their mind. They love you guys so much. I think we could do an entire 3 hours on your contributions to the world and to the region and to the country of Lebanon. But if I were to ask you one simple question, which is what in your unique ways of life have driven you to believe that makes AUB necessary as an institution, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
I'm going to start. I've never had really the chance to be an AUB student, unfortunately, because there is no filmmaking major in AUB. So I was not able to do that, but I was always very jealous of AUB students in the sense that I've always been very impressed, very fascinated by their, this critical mind that they have, this sort of questioning of the status quo, questioning of the system, this sort of rebellious personality that they have. And I've come to work with lots of AUB graduates along the way and AUB students and AUB teachers. And I've always felt that same thing, this sort of political sometimes involvement and political awareness that I personally didn't have when I was a student, and that I sort of regret. And this sort of social engagement or involvement came later for me in life. So I've always felt this sort of not, I'm not going to say jealousy, but I've always been impressed by AUB graduates and AUB students. So, and then I, this sort of diversity also that AUB has, the fact that there's many students from around the world makes the conversation so much more rich and so much more interesting. And you know how much AUB physicians are have been impressing the whole world and the whole Arab world. The AUB faculty of my personal favorite is the AUB faculty of agriculture and food and science, because of all the initiatives in sustainable living and sustainable agriculture, and everything that we need in the new world that we're going to have to create. So AUB has been very innovative in that sense, and the AUB, the Faculty of Arts and Science, that has been, you know, the heart of liberal thinking also. So I've been really very impressed. So I don't have a personal history with AUB, but I have a personal experience with AUB also when I was invited to give a graduation speech a few years ago. And I've also had the honor to be, you know, given the honorary doctorate, and I was so impressed, and it felt like it was a huge achievement to be recognized by people who I have been really impressed by and fascinated with during all those years. So I really think that, you know, whatever you're doing now is really necessary. People need to, you know, donate and stand next to AUB and stand next to this platform that is going to really be playing a big role in the Lebanon of tomorrow. And we all know how much the students of AUB have been in the heart of the revolution, and the heart of the sort of critical thinking and questioning and accountability, this culture of accountability that is very important for us to, you know, move forward.
I couldn't agree more, and I just wanted to say that the huge achievement is we consider you to be the huge achievement. So, thank you very much for what you said, Khalid. I wanted to ask you the same.
Yeah, I'm as well. I mean, I'm not
AUB student.
AUB
Unfortunately for us, and also, by the way, notes taken, Nadine. Film school for AUB. I'm going to start lobbying. I'm going to start lobbying.
Yes.
Yeah, I also, I mean, when I was studying music, I studied, unfortunately, law school, and also for historical reason, because our legal system was created by the French mandate, so it is only taught by French universities, so that's why I couldn't have access to AUB. Though I felt the same frustration because we didn't have a campus. I mean, there's no culture of campus in French universities. So we used to look at this incredible green island in the middle of Beirut with jealous eyes. And my biggest frustration was when I first time saw the organ of the assembly hall. And as a musician, I mean, I would love one day to play on it. I mean, this you can also add this on your program.
You haven't played on the organ?
No, never. I don't know. Actually, is it still working?
I actually don't know that, but I mean, if it is, I mean, it would be an honor for you to play on that organ. I don't know why that hasn't been arranged. We'll make sure that happens.
Yeah. So. Yeah, for me, you know, Lebanon today is a post-apocalyptic territory, a kind of Mad Max territory, you know, with some island of resistance, and AUB is one of them. Some islands of resistance where the new Lebanon will is rethought, is reshaped, and it's from there that these soldiers of art and creation and intellect will go and regain the Lebanon of tomorrow. So this is, I mean, as artists also, I mean, this tremendous amount of suffering. I mean, when I say tremendous, I feel like Donald Trump, but this tremendous amount of suffering is a huge reservoir of creation and art.
True.
And I'm sure that in the next decade, great art will emerge from Lebanon.
True.
And AUB is a publisher. AUB is a concert hall for musicians. AUB is an art gallery for painters and sculpture. AUB is a museum. So it's a very it's a big nursery of artists for the next decade.
Very true.
So I mean, this is the importance of places such as AUB and other universities, of course. we were part, and we are still part of the revolution. And the importance of this revolution is that it took place and it was nourished and nurtured by students in universities. By people who knows the problem and who knows the solution, by people who can be part of the solution. It was not a populist revolution. It was a kind of like the French Revolution of May '68 that changed the face of Europe because it started in universities, because it started by students. So there is no way that Lebanon will be saved by other people than these people. And the importance of such, what you're doing now, we don't want them to leave.
Of course.
If they leave, Lebanon will disappear. I mean, there's no hope anymore without them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have many challenges ahead. The first challenge is, and AUB is as the front line in these challenges. The first war is against fascism, against religious fascism, against obscurantism. And the second is the management of our diversity. And this is an enormous burden on that places like AUB who host diverse people, diverse from all over the world and from all the religions. This is an important laboratory for the Lebanon of tomorrow.
It's so true. So true. I'm reading the comments right now. Lebanon and AUB are islands of resistance from where a new Lebanon will emerge. What you've been saying is getting quoted by our viewers.
With my bad English.
This is why French educated people anger me. I'm an American educated person, and you speak better than me. So I don't know what to tell you, but that was beautifully said. Also, I can confirm that the organ does work in AUB, and I can confirm that AUB is scrambling right now to make sure that we have the honor and the privilege of you playing on that organ. But I do want to thank you so much for what you said, and for both of you, for everything you've done, both culturally, artistically, and for the support you've shown the revolution. Because, as you said, Khalid, it literally is Lebanon. It is the people. It is the only hope moving forward. God bless you both, and thank you so much for your love and the support you've shown AUB today. Wishing you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, Nadine Labaki and Khalid Muzannar. That was absolutely beautiful. Let me tell you guys, we are so lucky with everybody that we have in our country from all different walks of life. And it would just be absolutely perfect. There are so many organizations that AUB has. In fact, I forgot to ask Nadine this. This was on me. Nadine is also an ambassador for Braveheart, a foundation that AUB is also part of AUB that takes care of children who have heart problems for free. Braveheart is an incredible, incredible association. There's so much that AUB does. There are so many moving parts that it's almost hard to keep up with. It's absolutely incredible, and all credit goes to Nadine Labaki for supporting that incredible initiative. Please keep donating, ladies and gentlemen, because we are continuing to raise an incredible amount of money, and we have so much more coming. Our next guest, and this is I'm very excited to bring up our next guest right now. I've been looking forward to this conversation for quite some time. He's a celebrated American actor, writer, director, and producer who has won Emmy, Tony, and Golden Globe Awards for his performances in theater, television, and film. His name is Lebanese because his father emigrated from Lebanon to the U.S. when he was 8 years old. Our next guest is known for so much, whether it's Monk, Wings, on TV, whether it's Men in Black, whether it's, hell, for me, the Ninja Turtles movies that came out, I absolutely loved them in those. I could go on and on with this gentleman's credits. He is a pride for Lebanon. He's an incredible, incredible human being, and I am absolutely honored to have him today. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Mr. Tony Shalhoub. Tony, it is so wonderful to see you. He's checking. How are you?
Hi. I'm just turning off my phone.
Yeah, I saw you doing that. I'm sorry, I put you on the spot. Thank you so much for joining us today. I do want to tell everybody watching that And I want to give you credit for this. When I did a Lebanese Red Cross fundraiser a few months ago after the devastating blast in Lebanon, you reached out and your sister reached out saying, I want to help Lebanon. How can I help? And we had a conversation and I told you about this AUB fundraiser and you were all in. And I want to thank you so much for your enthusiasm and your support today. How are you? How's everything going? Before we dive in, how are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I was happy to be a part of that. I wish I could have been a bigger part and talked to you then, but I really want to thank you for inviting me in today.
Of course. Thank you for joining us.
For the material that you sent on the university. I was in Lebanon for the first time in my life a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago. And I got to visit the university for too brief a time. And I was so it was so impressive. I can't even begin to describe it. And now to see what you're doing for the university, I want to be a part of that and continue to be a part of it. I think it might be pretty obvious and go without saying that I wasn't a great student in school.
Neither was I. It's fine.
Parent to everyone who's watching right now, but and I just sort of so fortunate to have sort of gotten through college, gotten through graduate school, and I thought, well, that's over now, and I sort of I thought, well, that I never have to do that again. But now, since I visited the university in Beirut, I thought, I think I would like to go back to school. And but I'd only like to go back to school if I could go there.
To AUB? Oh my God, that would be great. I'll go back. If you're going back to AUB, I'm going back to AUB.
I'm going back to college, and I never thought I would. But it's beautiful what you're doing today. I was watching for the last half hour or so, last 45 minutes, and you brought on Peter Sellers, and I knew Peter way back in the 80s. I was working in Cambridge, Massachusetts at the American Repertory Theater, and he was a young director just kind of coming onto the scene and completely blowing minds, all up and down the Eastern Seaboard with the opera he was directing, and worked at the theater that I was part of. And so it was wonderful to see him again and hear him. He's so eloquent.
He is. He really is. We're lucky that he's part of the AUB kind of family, and it seems that I can tell you we're going to leverage your enthusiasm right now to bring you into that family as well, because I don't think there could be any greater opportunity for us to connect with. You've been a hero to so many people across the world, but specifically Lebanese people. You are a pride for us, and your journey has been, and I remember when we talked on the phone, you mentioned, I've only been to Lebanon briefly, and it was just a couple of years ago. I can't wait for Lebanon to get back to where it can be so that you can visit again and really reconnect with that land over there. AUB, for me at least, has been the best that Lebanon has to offer. It's always been like, when I go to that campus, I'm like, this is where we could be. And then when I walk out of the campus, I'm like, this is where we are. But if we can keep working on that campus, we can, and producing what we're doing from there, we can bring the two worlds together. Do you think there's a good chance of us seeing you in Lebanon anytime soon after some of the COVID and stuff blows over? What do you say?
Absolutely. As soon as it's it's clear and we can travel across across again, I want to come, and I want to bring other members of my family if they're if they'd be willing to make the trip, because I think it's important for people here to really to see it firsthand. Mm-hmm. But what you were saying about AUB, it's certainly we want to bridge that, make that connection between the university and the community there, of course. But the school really goes so far beyond that. It's so far-reaching. People from all over come, get this this high quality education, and then take that out, not just into Lebanon, but it's so far-reaching. It spreads all over the world.
So true.
And it's it's just so key in every field. I really I have you to thank for reconnecting me to it, and for inspiring me to make it a bigger part of my life.
Not at all. I thank you. I also want to tell you happy birthday, because it was your birthday a few days ago. So as we say in Arabic, العمر كله. I don't know if do you speak Arabic, by the way?
I don't. I'm embarrassed to say I don't.
No problem. I don't even. Most of us don't speak Arabic in Lebanon, anyways. We speak some kind of bastardization of multiple languages. But I want to thank you so much, Tony, for joining us today. For really, it means a lot that you're supporting Lebanon the way you are. We love you. We miss you in Lebanon, even though you really haven't been there, but you've been missed. Trust me. And you are, once again, you are a pride for the country. And I really want to thank you for joining us today. And thank you for being Master Splinter in the Ninja Turtles. It was an absolute delight.
I had to bring that up. No, but I wanted to say...
You don't like that role? Let me tell you, the second Ninja Turtles movie I have watched 9 times. I'm not exaggerating. I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan. And the second movie for me was everything. And the first one was great, but the second one was everything. And anyone who says otherwise, I will fight them on the side of the street.
Thanks. Hey, congratulations on everything you've raised just today. It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
I'm gonna when I do sign off, I'm gonna click on the link and donate.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much. Thank you. You don't have to do that, and it's so appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tony. I'll see you soon, inshallah. You take care.
I can't wait to meet you, sir.
I can't wait to meet you, sir. Thank you very much, and have a beautiful day. And my love to your sister and your wife and everybody.
Thanks.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Shalhoub. I mean, there's not much more nothing else I can say. Let me just take a moment right now to recognize that he's an incredible Lebanese human being who, despite not being really connected with Lebanon geographically, has really thrown support where it was needed, and God bless him for doing that. Before I bring up our next and final guests of the evening, I want to give you guys an update. We have raised, I need to do the calculations here. We have raised, you have donated $157,000. You, the viewers today, have donated in 2 hours and a half approximately $157,000. This prompted matches of $140,000 on top of that, and the Gangarosa match of $150,000. I want to thank once again the Gangarosa family for their very generous match of $150,000, which goes towards the family chair for safe water and sanitation at AUB. I want to thank all our other matchers, Trustee Riyadh Kamal as well for his $100,000 donation, Rula and Fuad Tamer for their $20,000 donation, and Philip Widener, AUB trustee, for his $20,000 donation. We've raised $150,000, $300,000, $400,000, $447,000. We've raised just under $450,000, and we're not done yet. Please, please keep donating. This is an incredible accomplishment that we have made today together. And before I bring on our final guests, I want to remind you the donation links on YouTube and Facebook are in the description. And on Twitch, they are in the panels below. We have 3 more guests joining me at the same time. I'm going to bring in our next guest, a man who I admire very, very much personally, a man who has been given the unenviable job of leading the American University of Beirut through one of its greatest moments of crisis, probably in the history of the country and the history of that university. Arguable. I'll ask him if that's the case. He's an incredible individual. He's a powerful individual, and he has done more in my life personally than most people I know by the example that he has led by at the American University of Beirut. Please help me welcome. I mean, I could read his biography, which I guess I should, but his accomplishments speak so much more. Even so, he is the 16th and current president of the American University of Beirut, and he's the editor-in-chief of the medical journal Cancer. He was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and he was raised in Beirut, Lebanon, and he was in AUB from 1981 to 82, and graduated from Yale University in 1984, his MD from Columbia University of College of Physicians and Surgeons in 1989. He's received many awards in recognition of his scholarly achievements, including the 2013 Richard and Hinda Rosenthal Memorial Award by the American Association for Cancer Research and Takrim's Scientific and Technological Achievement Award in 2015. And he's our president of the American University of Beirut, Dr. Fadlu Khouri. Sir, so wonderful to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Nemr. Thank you for doing this. And
of course,
we've been enjoying it tremendously so far.
Well, I'm
wonderful.
So happy to hear that. Before we bring in our next guests, are there any words you'd like to share with anyone, or would you perhaps like to tell everybody about our next guests and the significance of it? I leave the floor to you, sir.
Sure. So I think almost everyone knows our next guests, but I'm going to talk about them briefly. Ann Kerr has been a longtime trustee. She was married to Malcolm Kerr, who was the president of AUB in the 1980s, tragically was assassinated at AUB on this floor on the fifth floor of College Hall. Malcolm was a great Middle Eastern history and political science scholar, a true intellectual, great and brave leader of the university. And Ann has been herself. Ann and Malcolm met here at AUB. She and Malcolm were lifelong friends of my own parents. Malcolm's parents were famous faculty leaders at AUB. Malcolm's mother was the Dean of Women here, and his father, Stanley Kerr, was an icon in the chemistry department here. So along with Ann, who herself has been in charge of the Fulbright program at UCLA, is a great advocate for diversity, for inclusiveness, and for liberal arts, we're going to have Steve Kerr. Steve, of course, is a multiple NBA champion as a player, as a coach. Great man. His only sin is that since I was born in Boston, as you mentioned, it is the only non-Boston team that I root for, which is the Golden State
Warriors. Yeah.
And this is in lieu of the lunch that Ann and Steve and I were going to have in New York this year, which would have been the first time I'd seen him in a very long time. Of course, I see Ann quite frequently, but I'm really pleased to have Ann and Steve Kerr with us today.
I mean,
wonderful human beings and great icons of AUB in the world.
They really are. I'm so happy that I'm about to bring them in to the conversation right here on Zoom. It's really incredible to this moment right now where, this whole live stream has shown previous and current generations and the effect that they've had together at the American University of Beirut. I think it's a very fitting way to end the show today that we're bringing it full circle right now. I wanted to, before we bring them up, how are you doing personally with everything going on at AUB? How has the struggle been? I imagine it's very real. Are you doing well? Is everything good? What would you say?
I think, Nemr, many of us are fortunate to do well in the world. And those of us who do well, and I'm doing well, thank you for asking, we should be focused on doing good. And I think we're doing good at AUB. We're doing things that matter. The things that matter are to educate the next generation, for our superb faculty to carry out world-class research, as you showed so poignantly earlier, to contribute not just to the rebuilding of Beirut, but to lifting people's spirits. When you ask who's doing well these days with COVID-19, I think, relatively speaking, some of us who are doing better than others should give more so that those who are not doing as well, and we're seeing this play out everywhere where COVID-19 is disproportionately affecting people. In the US, it's people of color.
Yes.
People have less access to healthcare. Here we're seeing that the fatality rates in the Palestinian and Syrian communities are more than double what they are among the Lebanese. So we really need to make sure that we are focused not just on doing well ourselves, but on doing good for others. So
God bless.
For me,
God bless. I couldn't agree more. And without further ado, let me admit Steve Kerr and his mother, Ann Kerr, into the room right here. And there they are, Steve and Ann with a beautiful Lebanese flag. Welcome to all of you here today.
The first time I'd
Thank you.
Of course, I see Ann quite frequently. Hi, Ann. Hi, Steve. Please, Ann and Steve.
We just have one of the it's playing out loud, the stream. It seems that it's stopped.
Really are. I'm so happy that I'm about to bring them in to the conversation. Right,
I think that's yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to welcome Steve Kerr. You don't need any introduction, of course. Ann Kerr, neither. Your family has contributed to the American University of Beirut in unprecedented ways, in more ways than one. And you have continued to support, and your efforts with the AUB are unbelievable. And your husband, of course, made the ultimate sacrifice, Steve, your father. I would just like, before the dialogue goes between everybody, I would be amiss not to say that I just want to, on behalf of all the students at AUB, say thank you for everything you have given to the university, for everything your father, Steve, and your husband, Ann, has sacrificed for the American University of Beirut, because it is the institution today that it is, because of the belief and the power that you have shown in that institution from the entire family. So I want to say thank you. And I want to also ask you if you could summarize what you believe it makes AUB necessary. I think it would be incredible to hear.
Which one of us would you like to hear first?
I mean, we should. I would say ladies first. I mean, we'll go with you, and I think Steve would agree.
Well, I can just brag that my history at AUB goes back 66 years. Wow. And that's a big chunk of my life, to when I went there as a student and fell in love with the university. First, the Middle East culture, and then with Malcolm. And of course, was enchanted with what AUB stood for and has stood for all this time, and is more important today than ever for us in this country, because AUB is a repository of the values that we believe are our American values and that are so much in turmoil right now. But AUB is, like, for me, a distant bulwark of these values that we treasure and want to rebuild in our country, and as we rebuild AUB.
I couldn't agree more.
And my kids were all 3 of my 4 kids were born there: Steve, Susie, John, and Andrew was born in this country.
So Steve was born. So we can say that the coach of the Golden State Warriors is Lebanese. Can we go ahead and make that?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, great.
Especially these days, I don't mind being referred to as
I can only imagine. Steve, I give you the floor.
No, I think for me, I take great pride in our family roots, and I was born at the AUB hospital and didn't spend a whole lot of time there, but just the first year or so of my life, and then several trips back there. So I do have some memories from childhood, from visiting the city and the AUB campus. But more than anything, it's just a source of pride to know the connection there that goes all the way back to my grandparents, and I think the immense pride that my family has felt in the country of Lebanon and the university, and the joy that the connection has given our family, the roots that it's given us. It's a big part of who we are as a family, and so I'm very grateful for that connection.
Yeah, we're very grateful that you have that connection. Thank you for your wonderful words, Dr. Khoury. I mean, you've known Ann for so long. You've known the Kerrs for so long. Having you all right now is a very remarkable moment in an online, on Zoom, broadcast across the world. It's, I mean, where do you see things moving forward with everything that we have? A ton of challenges between COVID and as you so gracefully said, the problems we have with the world's threat to the values that we used to think were, I mean, in theory, common, and everybody was we thought in agreement on them. But at the same time, we have a lot of tools at our disposal with technology and things we can do. How do you see things moving forward?
I think Ann has known me my whole life. Steve, I haven't seen in 30-something years. I saw your brother, John, and I see your sister, Susie, most frequently. But I think for all of us, we tend to believe that universities can have a tremendous impact, but also by recognizing what they can and can't do. So university can't punch out a bunch of brand new leaders that'll make the world a better place like a toaster throws out Pop-Tarts. It's not that simple. You've heard some of the previous guests say about how important it is that the values are inculcated, that this is a different type of approach to inclusiveness. And it's true, 1 year ago, the class that entered in 2019, we had students from 96 different countries. I think Ann would tell you for UCLA or Princeton or Harvard, that's a phenomenal percentage. 25% of our students were international. And the importance of that is it brings people from different cultures together. And especially in this hotbed of unrest, which has been the Middle East for the last 40 something years, it shows you that the other is not that frightening. Mm-hmm. And that's a lesson that's valuable to us, not just in Lebanon, but as Americans. I mean, I was sharing with Ann and with Steve that when I moved from AUB to Yale, I didn't think, to my surprise, that things at Yale were all that comfortable between African Americans and Caucasian Americans. Judging by the fact that my 4 African American friends would say, "Come sit with us, nobody else wants you." Probably an exaggeration, but not by a lot. Yeah. I was not the most social creature, unlike you, Nemr. So I do think that we need instruments that bring people closer together, and that's what great universities do. We need places where people can talk without being attacked, given what social media is becoming. And I think universities provide that opportunity. I remember watching with horror a few years ago, before I came here, seeing a young gay man shamed by his roommate, and he committed suicide. I think that left a very vivid impression on all of us reading that story in America. I think we just need to advocate for people to get to know each other, to step back from this incredibly polemic-filled era. Steve's taken his position very courageously, very poignantly. He's been quite outspoken about the need to be more inclusive. I suppose a sports team, and when we have 25 of them here at AUB, are places where you see that the other person is much more like you than you think. And a university is a larger version of that. I'd like to think that the world can do that one small school and university and sports team at a time and just step back. Particularly now with COVID, with the economic collapse in Lebanon, the global recession, everything else going on, we can recognize how much more unites us than divides us. And I can't wait for this presidential campaign to end, quite frankly. It's already old, so let's get past it and all start working together.
Okay, I couldn't agree more. Steve, you, I mean, to put it lightly, have been a team player for most of your life, whether you've been leading teams or playing in teams. Do you see the future? I mean, I know it looks ugly now, but do you have hope for the future, especially with your team, the teams that you're leading, and the passion that everybody's been showing on and off the court for positive change? It makes me feel hopeful. Is that something you believe in, or are you being consumed by this darkness?
Oh, I have great hope for the future. And I get that hope from my players, much like Fadlo was just talking about with the, so many people coming from different backgrounds at AUB, and you gather these students from all over the world. That's what it feels like in basketball in the NBA. You gather people from all over the place. Mm-hmm. We have, I think, over 100 foreign players in the NBA. So routinely, we have players on our team from different countries and vastly different backgrounds. And when you get everybody in one room together trying to accomplish something, as you said, you're aware that we all have many more similarities and differences. and those differences are actually celebrated as diversity because they can help make us better. And so I feel that from my team, but I also feel it from my kids and their friends. I feel that the younger generation is more and more open-minded and diverse and accepting of race, of homosexuality, of background. I just don't think it matters as much to the younger generation, but I think we're right in the middle of this huge sort of struggle, especially in American culture, where maybe the remnants of the past are still pulling us backwards, and people who are more progressive thinking are trying to pull us forward, and that's a little bit what this election is about. But I feel great hope when I see what the younger people are doing and are thinking, and how open-minded and progressive they are.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I couldn't agree more. I do think the new generation is the greatest that we've seen so far coming out in terms of moving forward. And Dr. Fadlo is leading an incredible organization right now at AUB. Your son, Steve, has led, whether on the court or off the court, many incredible organizations. And you have led many incredible individuals. You have contributed to many incredible organizations over the years. Seeing what Steve is talking about, what Dr. Fadlo is talking about, as a mother, because I think probably the most important perspective we can have in this world is a mother's perspective. I wouldn't be the man I am without my mother, and I'm sure neither would Steve, nor would Fadlo. As a mother, and having gone through everything you've gone through, what do you see moving forward for the world?
I certainly agree with both Steve and Fadlo, and I'd like to expand that really to what we've seen today. And looking at AUB as, well, not exactly a mother, but a positive influence in our lives, I'd like to note that everyone on this store on the old program had a different sense of what AUB had meant to them. And that's what truly is so important. Each person believes AUB was kind of her very own. And that has touched so many lives. As a mother, I have great hope too. And I see Fulbright scholars and my students at UCLA with the same acceptance of diversity that Steve talked about. Truly, it's very inspiring. I'd just like to say, Nemr, I know we don't have a lot more time, but how wonderful it is to meet you. And your energy just exemplifies AUB. And then also, to have Fadlo as our president right now is an extreme good fortune, because he's got this ability to rise to the occasion and make this crisis something that he's going to turn into something positive. And AUB is filling that role. So it makes me very proud. And that's bigger than just my own family, but it's the AUB family, and we're very proud.
That means a lot. I can't begin to express how much. Thank you. You've humbled me greatly with your words, and I agree. I second your motion on Dr. Fadlo. He's doing a bang up job. Let's put it that way.
Incredible.
It really
Take care
is.
of yourself, Fadlo.
Yes, you do, Fadlo. You make sure you take care of yourself. If you need any fighters, I got jokes. I'll come to your aid anytime you anytime you want. You need anybody to come to your aid, I got you. You need an anger converter, translator. I got your back, sir. We definitely do. Before we end the stream today and we end this wonderful discussion with everybody, I do want to say that everyone that's come together today for the American University of Beirut has made an incredible impact. I want to thank you all, Dr. Fadlo, Steve, and Anne, not only for joining us today, of course, but for everything you've done over the years, whether it's for the American University of Beirut, for your families, for society, and for the human race. And Dr. Fadlo, before I say goodbye, I would leave the final word, of course, to you.
I wanted to talk just briefly about Malcolm and what he meant to all of us. I know Anne's going to know what I'm going to say. Malcolm was one of the gentlest people I ever met. I had the misfortune to transfer to Yale because my much younger brother wanted to go into theoretical physics. Not that there's anything wrong with Yale, but I would take all these courses in history and English literature and Shakespeare, and Malcolm would grill me when I would come back. He wanted to make sure that I was enjoying it. And I think he truly believed that you should enjoy your college experience, you should enjoy your graduate experience, because it was part of you were. I think he didn't harbor much hope that he would convert me away from medicine, but at least he wanted me to be an aware and cultured physician. And that's what universities can provide. You know, Malcolm was president for a year and a half. He's left an indelible mark on generations. Every teacher here leaves an indelible mark on generations as mentors or others. That's what AUB stands for. And I'm incredibly grateful to the Kerrs for being with us, because they understand, and of course better than any of us, but Steve also, because AUB is in his blood, just what it means to provide that opportunity to grow as a scholar, as a human being. You've encapsulated it beautifully, Nemr. I'll have you in my corner if I ever have a social media comedy fight.
I'm ready.
It's about discovering who you are and how you can contribute. So I'm really grateful to you, to Steve, to Anne, to Malcolm and his memory, to all our friends tonight for rallying for AUB's cause. It's a great cause, and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, amen to that. God bless. Thank you all for joining us, Steve, Anne, and Dr. Fadlo. Thank you. And we'll see you in better times ahead, I'm sure.
Thank you, Nemr.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Everybody, that was Dr. Fadlo Khouri, the president of the American University of Beirut, Steve Kerr and his mother, Anne Kerr. And I could go on and on about Steve and Anne. Everybody knows Steve. I would like to mention that Anne Kerr, because I didn't mention this, is the coordinator of the Visiting Fulbright Scholar Program at the University of California in Los Angeles. She's the author of several books. One of them is Come With Me from Lebanon and Painting the Middle East. Those are two different books. She's a member of the advisory board of the Rand Center for Middle East Public Policy. She's also a founding member and past chair of the Leadership Council of the Churches for Middle East Peace. We are blessed to have such an incredible family at AUB. And I think today that you all saw what an impact the American University of Beirut has had on the world and through all of its students. For me, I cannot overstate how much AUB has had an impact for me. It's impossible. That university gave me everything. That was the university when there was no stand-up comedy in the Middle East. There was no public performance stage for that art form. That was the first stage I ever stood on. That was the first time I ever got a crowd or a following. And that was when I learned my craft was on the stages there. But also my memories at AUB, the people that I met, the friends that I've carried for a generation, my parents, my mom, who was an AUB graduate. I worked with my father in a family business that we started together when I was a freshman in Piccadilly Building on Hamra Street. And I would walk to university and walk back, and I'd have a suit hanging up. And the professors that I met at university who continue to be my friends, and the incredible generosity of their time. I have a best friend of mine, Rabia, who was a computer science student who wanted to start a business. So I introduced him to a professor of entrepreneurship, Tariq Kittani. And Tariq sat down with him and he said, "What is your idea? What do you want to do?" And Rabia gave him a business plan. And he read over it and he said, "Well, no. And he made a bunch of corrections and he said, "Go fix this and come back." So Rabia, my best friend, goes home, comes back the next day. He stayed up all night, fixed the entire business plan, hands it to Tariq Kittani. Tariq Kittani looks through it, flips the pages, says, "Okay, this is good. I like it. Very good." This is a student that wasn't Tariq Kittani's student. This was just another faculty member. Tariq Kittani flips the document over, rips off a piece of paper, writes down terms. He says, "How much money do you need?" And my friend was like, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000. He's like, no. How much money do you need to get this thing made? And he told him a pretty large number. around $60,000. And this professor at the time flips the paper over, writes down terms and says, I will give you $30,000 now and $30,000 in 6 months if you meet these goals in exchange for 5% of your company. Do you agree to these terms? And Rabia was like, yes, because he had no funding. And much like myself, we were both pretty much destitute. We didn't have money. I didn't have money to spend. He didn't have money to spend. And he got his first financial backer. Now Rabia is a massive, massive success. Stories like this, I could go on and on and on. I used to eat coconuts as I would walk down to campus. There was a guy who would sell coconuts for 750 Lebanese pounds, which back in the day was $50 and is today is, let's not talk about it, but it's not a lot of money. And I would take the coconuts and I would eat them because they were very filling. And I remember I'd sit on main gate and then people would hang out and we would, give them a piece of coconut and we'd sit and we'd talk. And that university, there's so many memories, so many incredible moments. I stood in front of a crowd of thousands for the first time there. I graduated from there. On the last day of school that I had at AUB, I hooked up an electrical guitar to an amplifier on my belt, and I started playing on campus at 2 a.m. It was my last day there, and security started chasing me. And as I was running away from security, I was going, and he started laughing, and now I'm still friends with that security guard. There is so many incredible stories, and I know you all saw today a glimpse of them, and I really invite you all to continue to support AUB because there's so many more stories to be told. And I want to tell you all that we have raised today $453,736. With your help today, and with the generous contributions of the pledges and the matches that came through, we raised $453,736 for the American University of Beirut. I cannot thank you enough for what you guys did today, and God bless you all. God bless your families. If you're in Lebanon, know that you are not alone. Know that you will never be forgotten. And as long as I'm breathing and millions of people across the world are breathing, nothing will stop us from making the Lebanon that we all deserve, because we have the perfect model for it. It happens to be on campus at the American University of Beirut. Thank you so much for believing in us today. Thank you for helping us establish the fact that AUB is necessary. You can continue to donate if you're interested. The donation links are staying up. My name is Nemr, and I thank you on behalf of AUB and everybody for everything we did today. Have a great one, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.